All right, we are live. What is up, everybody? It is the RP Ginger here, and I am back finally after what feels like forever for me. Probably not that long for everybody else that was still playing, but 6 days away at Gen Con, I have finally returned, and I am eager to run session 9 of my March of Annihilation West Marches style campaign here. I got a couple of gentlemen, all who have been hanging out in Chult for the past couple of sessions. They are borderlining on veterans now. Some would even say maybe experienced. Not too many would say that, though. But anyways, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves, gentlemen. We'll go Charles, Corey, Craig, Ian, and then we'll jump into the session probably, unless I forgot something. Go ahead, Charles, and say hello, say who you're playing, and then pass it off.
All right, well, I am playing Bjorn the Barbarian, who has had a couple rough sessions the last couple times, but we'll see how this one goes, and I hope I'll make it out alive.
Go ahead, Corey.
I am playing Fletch to save the world, however cautiously he needs to do so.
Next up, Craig.
I am playing Gar the Gargoyle, feral variant tiefling, and gonna monk it up.
I'm playing Menez Barbarian.
All right. Well, welcome, gentlemen. Like I said, this is session 9. I have titled this session. What have I titled it? Actually, I actually forgot. The ruins
of Nangalore.
Yeah, I actually blanked out there. Sorry. And what this group is doing, this is part 2 of another mission where someone from the Lord's Alliance asked them to find out 2 lost ruins. The part of this group actually was part of the first mission, successfully finding a ziggurat and finding out some mystic visions. We lost that session, which is kind of appropriate now that I think about it, because it was actually some big kind of secret stuff. So only those players get to know exactly what they learned there. But this session, they are heading for a place called Nangalore. And Nangalore used to be a paradise garden built for one of the most beautiful queens of all of Chult. But some fishy stuff happened, like always in the jungles of Chult, and it has been lost now and basically forgotten to legends. The party, having picked up their supplies and equipment and hiring the guide Iku, have set sail once again on the Brazen Pegasus. And I actually have a map here. It doesn't really show it that well, but hopefully this will come into play later on in the stream. But they have set out into the Bay of Chult and around to the eastern side. Let me actually pull up my map here. And basically wrapping around now, it's going to be what Captain Ordame says. You guys are heading for Kitcher's Inlet. And she says that it's going to be about a 4-day journey. We should arrive in the bay around nighttime on the 4th night. Providing the weather holds up, as it never does, we should arrive there without problem. We pan now through the next couple of days, and coincidentally enough, lucky for you guys, the weather is clear. You have 3 days of perfectly fine weather. Beautiful, hot, but the cool sea breeze kind of cools you off, water splashing up. The water itself is rather calm, and nothing eventful happens, luckily to you guys, strangely enough, for the first 3 days. However, on the 4th day, coming around the bend, around this mountain that kind of reaches up to the skies and blocks off a big section of the jungle, you head around, and in the stretch many, many miles down, you do barely, probably not even that much, make out the bay that you're heading for, this Kitcher's Inlet. And it's on the actual 4th and final day that you wake up to some rain. It's kind of grayed out the skies, and the water you see just rippling with all the raindrops hitting it. Ordame comes to dock and looks around, looks to the sky, gets her kind of finger up in the air, and goes through a captain's kind of traditions of predicting the weather. And she does indeed say that it looks like we're going to be in for a storm today, gentlemen. Everyone, make sure they're holding their duties. You guys, I imagine, use the sailor passage that Menez has. But when doing this, you are up to the captain of the ship's regards for your duties, and you've all been put to hard work. So as the storm is inevitable, what are you all gentlemen doing to prepare yourself for this last day journey? You had a relaxing, almost mini vacation for the last 3 days, but now you know that something's coming, as it always does in Schultz. Each of you, tell me what you're doing and how you're aiding in the preparation for this storm. Go ahead. We'll just keep the order for now. Charles, Corey, Craig, Ian. Go ahead, Charles.
All right. Well, I've had a couple times on the boat of Captain Ordeme, so I believe that by now I know a couple members of the crew, and I try to make myself as useful as possible. I'm like using my barbarian strength and to try and tie ropes or whatever is needed. Also, I have had a new prosthetic installed recently, so for now I kind of have like a crutch of some sort to try and not put too much weight on it, because I'm still not used to it. But yeah, I try my best to whatever is needed, and
yeah. So you wanna let's actually get some checks going here to see how well we're prepared for the storm. You want to do an athletics check?
Yeah. 20.
20, nice. So yeah, even though suffering a terrible injury that would retire even the bravest of adventurers, losing a leg is something that not many people come back through. And there was points in the last couple of days before sail that even Bjorn didn't know if he was going to come out the other side of it. But as a barbarian, a servant, or a proud warrior, or Tempest does, surrender is never an option. So you went through this horrific surgery, having a prosthetic Aldini folk leg basically fashioned onto you. This glimmering, almost translucent, it's probably not impressive looking by any means. It's not a beautiful or artistic sight, but it's practical. And for now, it's holding up. And as you hobble around from side to side, you might not be as balanced on your foot, but if there's one thing that Bjorn still is, it is strong. And with that, you easily don't burden the crew, make sure the riggings are tight, and you hold your own. What is Fletch doing?
Yeah, so Fletch would be working in the kitchen, I guess. He would be like cooking some food up, trying to like keep the morale of the group high, and do his best to make some flavorful dishes.
All right, give me a survival.
Survival.
Chef
Performance,
Fletch.
you mean?
Survival.
Is this flipping the knives around and stuff? Eh?
I mean, that's not cooking, but
that's fine. It's 17 minus 1 is 16.
16 is
Easy.
enough to catch some delicious tropical chult fish, all kinds of rainbow-like colors, big fat pink fillets that you sear up on the deck and make a delicious, I guess, in the kitchen, and you make some delicious food for everybody. It's a good day. It's been a good journey. This is probably the most peaceful 4 days of Chult you guys have had. You're enjoying fish. The weather was nice up until this point. What does Gar find himself doing?
Gar is probably up in the crow's nest, up the highest point he can get to, playing lookout. You know, he'll fly around, check the riggings every now and then on the top sails, make sure everything's secured and nothing's loose or falling apart or anything like that on the very top parts of the ship.
All right, so you want to give me a perception then?
All right. $13.
13, yeah, enough. You see that the ship is in well order. Ordeme does keep a tight ship on her ship, sorry, and nothing wrong with the riggings. The crew, 6 of them strong, on top of you 4, about 10 men on, or 11 people on ship with Iku. It is a tight operation on a small kind of sloop. maybe a little bit bigger than a sloop. But Captain Ordame holds a tight shift when she is sailing, and you guys are more than prepared. And you call out as the storm starts swailing in, lightning crackling across the sky, waves kind of torrenting up. You're starting to wash on them now, almost like a roller coaster, going up and down, dropping 10, 15 feet. And the storm seems to be getting worse, but you guys are still prepared for it. You've had your adventures now in Chalt. You've come through worse things. And as you all band together on this ship now, you know that it will take more than a storm to stop you, for you all have overcome worse at one point or not in your life. Menez, the very last check.
Absolute. So Menez has been, over the last 3 days, the first 3 days, kind of been alternating with Gar, but Gar's been doing the majority of like looking out for pirate ships and stuff like this. And especially on the last day, she's been getting down with the rest of the sailors, you know, just like really scrubbing the deck and like preparing for this incoming storm that Captain Ultime has predicted is gonna be upon us. Just like lifting crates and barrels and sacks, adjusting them down. And so she uses athletics, I guess, or strength.
Yep, that works for me.
Okay, great. She gets 17.
17 is more than enough. And as the storm is now, you're in the thick of it. Nighttime quickly approaching. You are again checking the riggings, making sure nothing's flying overboard. There's moments where a crew kind of starts to slip on the deck, and slipping during a storm when water is washing up could be a fatal error. And one man kind of falls down and begins to panic as he gets washed across one side of the boat to the other. Menez's powerful arm grabs onto his wrist and snatches him, pulls him back up to his feet, and just kind of yells for him to saddle up and like prepare yourself, like stop being an amateur, basically. He straightens himself out, and the entire day is spent sailing on not the most enjoyable of seas, but like I said, you all are prepared for it. And as nighttime finally approaches and the storm is still howling, Captain Ordame says, through the torrent of wind and the howling and the booming of thunder, you hear her kind of come up to, we'll say she approaches Menez, as you're the one that secured the passage. And she literally is like yell talking at you, like right in your face, and you can still barely hear you. And she says something along the lines of, Menez, we should be in the bay now. I can't see anything, but it should be around here. Look for the port.
Menez looks over as the rain's just like pouring down and stuff, and she just okay, and she makes her way as best she can, like hold on to the sides, to the rest of the party, informing them what was told her, just to prepare to put the boat down so we can make our way to shore.
All right. And what Ordame would tell you is that there should be a port around here called Castellira, Port Castellira, although it's been long abandoned, and there's not really much of it. So it's in the pitch of black, in the torrenting of a storm and the pounding of rain and pure blackness of the sky. It's probably not going to be the easiest thing to find as is. Does anyone have any solution as to trying to spot this? Obviously, you could start to head inshore, but it is so dark right now that you literally like lose track of where the shoreline even is until the lightning just rips across the sky and temporarily illuminates everything.
Are there any options of waiting through the night, or are we gonna like move away from the bay or something along those lines?
Definitely an option if you want to wait out the night, and just she would say that it's probably best that we don't wait it out so close to the shoreline, but definitely an option if you don't want to just like try to figure this out during the middle of a storm, and probably a reasonable one. If anyone has anything that they want to do, now would be the time to speak it out, or you would just basically add another day to the voyage, putting you at around 5 days out at sea, and then hoping that the rain breaks on the 5th day.
Gar thinks for a second about flying up maybe trying to find a way to the storm, but he's old enough and experienced enough now to know that he probably wouldn't get more than 100 feet from the ship, and then he may not be able to find the ship again. And then he would be stuck in the sky, not knowing where the land is and not knowing where the ship is. So he turns back and is like, maybe waiting out the storm would be a good idea.
All right, and with everyone in agreement to that, Ortome kind of turns the ship, obviously not going back out in the sea because it'd be worse there, but just basically getting some distance from the shoreline so you don't get swept ashore or battered against. There is still some cliff sides on the other side of the bay, southward. So she kind of pulls it in, and it's at that point, spending the whole entire time out at sea, that I will need a con save from everybody. Since we didn't find Doc, you basically spend the whole night working through a terrible storm. There's no modifier to the DC, though, so it's just a flat 10. Fletch looks happy.
13, so I am fine.
7.
Menez is the best at con saves. You probably have a good con, too. That's probably the funny part.
You said 10, right?
Yeah.
So 10.
10. Nice. Yep. So everybody but Menace is fine. Menace, enjoy yourself. I should just call it like a point of Menace now at this point, because you constantly rock that exhaustion every session. But anyways, luckily for you guys, I do actually have the weather kind of rolled out for this adventure, and on the 5th day it does break down into just a normal kind of rainy, calm day. And after spending the entire night battling the storm, you do see that the shoreline is westward. Basically this, let me pull it up here actually. You see a stretch of beach actually, and it's kind of, now that you see it in the daylight, it's one of those things where it's like, wow, that was literally just like right in front of us. Like, but obviously not being able to see it in the middle of night. You look and you see that there looks to be basically a stretch of beach with an abandoned small supply depot. You see a rickety old kind of dock that barely looks like it's hanging on, and even worse now that the storm has just blown through. And then you see seven battered huts made of bamboo and thatch that all look to be like basically ripped apart by the storm. And then to the west of that, just basically on the outskirts of the beach, almost getting into where the jungle meets the shoreline, you see a graveyard. Ortome looks to you all and says, that was a hard night. If you guys want us to wait out for you for the next little bit, I'd appreciate it if you maybe like check out the port. We might be able to find supplies there, shore up the ship and make some repairs. I can't really afford to send anyone in, for if we lose any of our men, we're going to have a hell of a time getting back.
Seeing as everything Ortome has done for us, I would say we would agree to do that, because we might find some stuff that would be helpful for us as well. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Yep.
Well, it's just raining now more than anything. The wind is kind of calm. It's just like that gentle, persistent rain that gives a sheet of wetness to anyone that's out in it. But you can definitely pull out the old canoe that's tied to the side of the ship that Menez purchased several adventures ago. And the 5 of you, Iku included in that 5, obviously, hop down into the water and start to paddle your way. Ortome gets you close enough that it's only like a 5-minute paddle. And you shore up. You see that it is indeed a sandy beach, kind of dark wet with the wetness of the rain. You see little smooth pebbles kind of ingrained in the sand every couple of feet. And ahead of you, the wet sand kind of turns into damp clay with a bit of grass overturned or overgrowing on it. And then just ahead, this supply depot that's no more than the size of like a 1-level house, maybe like 30 feet by 30 feet in diameter. And other than that, you look around and you see the 7 bamboo thatch houses that look to be mostly torn apart. And then everyone, now that you're here, you all might as well give me a perception check. Menez remembering that you're at disadvantage. Not that it seems to matter, even if you didn't remember. All right. So we're going to say that Bjorn and Gar, the first thing that you notice is the graveyard to the west has been absolutely dug up and defiled. And you would actually see like the occasional skeletal corpse actually like pulled out and like dug up or ripped out of the grave and like pulled along, and basically like parts of it torn apart. You look around and see that most of these thatched bamboo houses don't really seem to have much in them. But then the supply depot itself is basically the last thing that would need to be checked. And it is this one level kind of square building.
How far is the jungle from the supply and the kind of village or whatnot?
So the jungle itself is actually towards the northwest, a pretty good distance away, actually about 10 miles.
Okay.
But towards the west, it's more like just a couple of miles away.
Okay.
So you definitely have like a good opening around here. You can just see the jungle kind of lurking in the distance. Iku steps forth, kind of brushing away her wet, dreaded hair, and she just looks to you all and says, I sense something not right about this place. Everyone, be careful.
Vanessa says, did you find anything? Speaking to the rest that were closer to the huts.
Somebody's messed up the graves. That's about all I saw, I think.
Remembering the last encounter they had with the Lindra, Bjorn will say that it might be related to some dark magic, and it kind of freaks him out because he has some bad memories about the zombies he last encountered.
Yes, I remember when we were at the fort in the woods, and there were probably 100, 200 of them that came out. Maybe this is where they're from.
Menes starts checking around the ground for if there's any like tracks, like fresh tracks, like leading in any particular direction. And she starts where the depot is, and then if given time, she'll make her way over to these bamboo huts and then over towards the graveyard, just checking for any sort of like tracks.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a survival. At disadvantage.
Yeah, man.
Sorry,
not have to remember. I really have to remember. So she gets 8, 9, 10.
10. It's kind of hard to tell. The rain has washed away a lot of it and kind of turned it into this mucky clay. So you can't really see any tracks. There definitely is like tracks here, but to you, it's like whether they're ancient or new or fresh, kind of hard to tell. Anyone else doing anything else in particular? Basically, if you're going to be clearing the area, obviously the last place to check. As you're looking around, I'm imagining just walking through, kind of poking at the thatched bamboo huts. There doesn't really seem to be anything going on there. If anyone wants to make an investigation check, they quickly can. Otherwise, I'm going to assume, unless you're abandoning your word to Ordomay, that you're going to head towards the supply depot.
Yeah, I'll head over there.
So you kind of walk up to it. It again is this basically like clay makeshift hut that's been dried out long ago, and there's pieces of thatch and bamboo reinforcing it. The roof itself is actually made of straw, and you see that the straw roofing has begun to rot in certain sections, giving off the illusion that it is probably pretty old and been abandoned for a while. But you notice that the door itself with a perception has kind of been pushed in a bit. And as you peek around into the innards of the supply depot, it's dark, obviously. You're human, right? So no dark vision.
Yes, I am human, so I don't have dark vision.
So yeah, you kind of peek in and it's just darkly lit in there. You look on the ground and see that there does seem to be like debris scattered about. And as you just kind of quietly go up to the door and push it open, it does give this rickety old kind of squeal as you push it in a bit and peek your head in. Nothing really seems to happen. You look around and basically it opens up into this straight hallway, and then it carries on for the entire length of this stretch of the building. And then there's 2 doors, one on the left and the right. And then further down at the end of the hallway, another 2 doors left and the right.
I'll light up a torch.
So yeah, a torch lights up. Who's taking the lead?
Guard does have dark vision, so he'll probably he can go first. That way he can see, and then you guys can use the torch light.
So you begin to step in, Gar. Your foot kind of overturns, and you see that basically there's like broken wood scattered all around in here. Rotten. You get the smell of something rotten as soon as you actually enter this building. Towards your immediate left is one of the doors, and as you look in, you do see that it seems to be like an empty kind of barracks. There's these wooden cots, only one left intact. The other, about 5 of them have been smashed, and there's just debris laying everywhere. And as you look in, this room itself is not very big. You kind of look around, and you actually would see basically a mess of stuff on the floor. And then, let me see what I got here. Yeah, nothing really that important in this room. And as you're all kind of coming in the distance, about 30 feet away from one of those far doorways on the left to the right, you see something skirt from one side to the other side.
I'll unsheath my greatsword and try to, I don't know, keep my... try to listen if I can hear anything more than the movements, like if there would be multiple things or...
Yep, perception.
20.
20?
Yeah.
You hear a gentle, feminine sob. Just very quietly.
Like where from us?
At the end of the hallway on the right door.
All right, I'll tell it to the other members of the party.
Absolutely. And one of the first things Nez does is she kneels down and just takes her hooded lantern from the side of her backpack, and she just lights it up. So we've got the torch and we've got this hooded lantern, and then she just takes her axe in one hand, hooded lantern in the other, and she's way forward.
I'll suggest maybe throwing my torch in the room to get us vision over there. I don't know what you guys think. So
how big is the room?
So you're in the hallway right now. That room that you hear the crying coming from is about 20 feet away. So you're basically at the entrance. So you'd have to walk in. I will remind you that the building itself is like made of bamboo and thatch and whatnot. So throwing a torch.
That's what I was thinking.
Then maybe we should try and check the side doors before, in case there's something we wouldn't want to be like caught off our possible escape path.
Okay. So yeah, you head over to the right door and push it open. It just quiet. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just try to do it as silently as possible.
All right. Now let's make a group stealth check right now.
I think I'm just gonna say hello and be like,
hello.
Hello, I hear you in there. Are you all right? I don't know why I'm trying to be stealthy in this situation. It's a girl crying. I hear an answer.
You Let's see. You don't hear an answer, but the crying does grow like a bit louder now that everybody kind of hears it.
I turn around to Fletch and kind of like glare at him.
What? It's a woman in danger. She probably just needs help. I'm gonna walk in there.
Perfect. So you walk down. So
taking
you guys,
the dodge action.
yeah, taking the dodge action. Ready to help.
Guards let everybody else go first, because having me walk in looking essentially like a demon,
Yeah.
probably won't help her situation.
So Fletch
joins Fletch for sure.
Okay. And then we'll just say, because you said you were doing it, Born, that you're looking in the right room first. You push it open, and you seem to be like a makeshift kitchen. Something on this like wood stove in this kind of like copper pot just seems to be emanating the most of this reek. Someone must have been like cooking something a long time ago and just forgot about it. And you can actually see like this thick tar like liquid actually is like spewing out and encrusted on one side of the pot. You see debris kind of scattered all over the place, and then you look and you see that Fletch and Menez are heading towards the crying. Menez, you push open the door, and as you look into this right room on the end of the hallway, this is actually one of the larger of the rooms, and there's basically a table in the center of it, a couple of old shelves that seem to be where they like maybe like a big pantry or something, and there's just tons of crates and boxes and all different kinds of stuff in this room. As you look around, give me a perception check.
With disadvantage?
Yeah, or Menez has his lantern or her lantern, so not at disadvantage. Although disadvantage for Menez. 8. Yeah, you go ahead.
Gar's going to kind of stay out of the room, kind of just watching the hallway, make sure nothing comes up behind us.
Smart choice. So yeah, you kind of walk into the room, and as you push open the door, the crying kind of like almost like in your typical horror kind of fashion stops. And you look around, maybe Fletch once again kind of, hello. And you're looking and you don't see anything. You walk into the center of this room, kind of running your hand along the dusty table. It seems like it's been aeons since someone's last been here. You look on the paper and you see like old kind of shipping logs of I guess this basically used to be a place long ago when the jungles were a little more tame, where people would basically like a checkpoint for supplies to be dropped off and then brought into the innards of the jungles. But they're ancient and probably even in maybe a different language. But then the crying continues again. You look in the corner, you do see kind of hunched over in this like almost like fetal position, a girl who's crying, and you see her long hair kind of flowing down her back, and she just has her hands in her eyes and just sobbing.
Oh God.
First thing Menez does is she lifts the lantern as high as she can to get a better look. She says, what are you doing here?
So how much do you know off the top of your head how much the lantern gives for light? Probably enough to be
probably 20 feet at least for bright light.
So interestingly enough, then, with you saying that, you lift it up and you start to illuminate her back, and you see this long, nappy, disgusting hair, and something is just instantly, you feel it like from your hands crawl down your spine, and you just feel that something's dreadfully wrong. And then you look, and her hair begins to move and wither. And then you realize that it is not hair at all. Completely growing down her back is this swarm of parasitic worms. Thousands of them engraved in her skull and basically creating this weave of hair. She turns around and looks at you, and you see a rotted face. Her entire top lip has been completely ripped away, and you see this rotted gum, and coming out of her eyes are like several worms She opens up her mouth and kind of cries and spits out a couple of these green worms and then looks at you and just roll initiative.
Fuck, man. Oh no.
All right.
Damn, I really needed a high roll right there.
Yeah, you did. 7 on Menace. I'm just gonna ask you guys. It's actually easier. Bjorn, what'd you roll?
18.
18.
Yeah.
Oops. Bjorn on where'd you go, Bjorn? I messed you up. 18. And Gar, what'd you get?
Got a 20.
20. Nice.
So
And
Gar, Bjorn, Menez, and then Fletch.
yep. Okay. Let's do this. So actually, Gar, what's your initiative or what's your dex modifier?
Oh shit.
+5.
+5. You are first. You hear
So-
the crying turn into some horrible sounding hiss. And as you then peek into the room, you see this girl with her face completely rotted out and just thousands of these long, almost snake-like green worms eating and burrowing into like every inch of her flesh. Her face just has them like hanging off on all sections. Her hair is no longer even hair. There's just thousands of these worms eating her. As she reaches up one of her arms, it kind of pulls back the robes that she's wearing, and her entire body, it seems like the innards have been just encasing this sheet of parasitic worms.
Have those worms reached anyone in the room other than the girl?
Seem to be on her.
Okay. Then he'll move into the room pretty quickly, and if he's able to, he'll pull out his quarterstaff on his way in and essentially just bring it down on this girl's thing's head.
Go ahead.
That's a 12.
12. I'm just going to tell you guys ahead that hitting this infected girl is a armor class 10. She is literally just an unrobed, or not like just a robed woman, so it's pretty easy to hit her. So go ahead and do your damage.
Rolled an 8 on a d8, so 13 damage.
Nice.
Bludgeoning.
You smash into her, and as you do, you hear a couple of the worms actually begin to pop and just break away a part of her flesh. You thump her in the head, and as it clears away, you see that the part where the worms are at were literally just like gnawing on her flesh, and it's just rotted skin and skull underneath the sheet of worms. Anything else?
Let's see. He'll use a key point as a bonus action to retreat out of there.
Yeah, you just hit her. Nope, getting out of here.
Yep.
Backpedal. All right, so you do, and as you hit her, she kind of her head cracks momentarily, but then she looks back at you, and as you disengage, the first person in front of her, I imagine, was actually. Let's actually see who it is. It could be Fletcher. It could be Fletch.
Yeah, it's either me or Menez, one of the two.
All right. So then as she stands up, just hopping out in predator mode out of her fetal position into this attack like stance, you see she holds her one arm in front of her and just encased hundreds of worms just withering around. She then takes her disgusting hand, and you see that part of her fingertips have been eaten away, and there's just skeletal bones, and she hisses and runs forth, attacking at you, Fletch. Rolling a 25 on the first hit.
Good thing I readied to dodge, question mark.
Disadvantage. Yeah, you did. I'll say you did. 18 at disadvantage.
Yeah, it hits.
Okay. And then she claws again. 20 and then 15 on disadvantage.
That misses.
Okay. And then last but not least, make me a dexterity saving throw.
1 plus
One?
3 is a 4.
All That's what I like to see. As she's clawing, scratches across your chest, ripping you open, you just jump back and kind of instinctively put into like a panic, this disgusting humanoid upon you. She claws again, and this time missing. You're just in a frantic, and then you see these worms on her skin jump off and latch onto your flesh.
Can I attack as a reaction? Is that possible, or do I have to wait until my turn?
You would have to wait till your turn, sorry.
Unless you had Sentinel, that would be.
Oh yeah, do you have Sentinel? If you
Yes,
have
he does.
You do have Sentinel, so then yeah.
Absolutely. So she leans. Oh, actually, that's a 10.
10? That's a hit on her.
Excellent. So she does with her battle axe. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points of damage as she just like slices up some of these worms on the side of her arm.
You cut away a big chunk of it, hissing out in pain. It's no longer her turn. Bjorn, you're the next up, and then you just see like what is Fletch doing as these worms hop off of her and start to like crawl up on your arm and begin to burrow. Fletch, what's your reaction to that horrible mess?
Yeah, Fletch is a little worried about parasitic worms, but overall, like, I mean, he's just trying to kind of like pat them away, remaining relatively calm for now.
Okay, go ahead, Bjorn.
So how far am I from all of that?
I imagine you're probably the furthest away, but regardless, everything's a movement. So basically, it'd probably take your full movement to get into the room.
Okay, can I get into range from the humanoid?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll do that. I'll use my full movements and then attack it.
Oh, I forgot you have half movement right now. Actually,
yeah.
I'm sorry. You definitely don't have enough movement to get in there. You begin to hobble your way down the hallway. You can dash action and get there, but if you dash, you fall prone.
Oh, yeah. Fuck that. Do I have enough space like between the three of these guys to throw a hand axe at it then?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I will do that instead.
Chase, you hear the thud of Bjorn's prosthetic leg now from behind you guys as he starts to try to hobble his way into the room, pulling out a battle axe or a hand axe, seeing the horrible entity in front of you guys. What did you roll? Oh yeah, I forgot to damage you. You take.
I just realized.
Thank you for being honest. For your honesty, take a lovely 11 points of damage.
Perfect. Great.
I rolled a nat 1.
Not one? Oof. You definitely do not hit. Let me see something here. Menez, give me a dexterity saving throw.
Do I have danger sense with that? Do I roll twice with danger sense?
Yeah, sure. You can roll at advantage.
I rolled a 6 and a 4 straight without no.
Oh my goodness, you guys!
This is a mess.
Go ahead and hand axe Menez in the back as you completely whiff. Maybe this is your first time putting like that kind of momentum on your leg, and you completely slip. Hand axing her right in the back. Go ahead and tell her what your damage is.
Just want to make sure, since I throw it, do I add my dexterity modifier?
Yep.
Okay.
No, it's still strength.
For a hand axe, are you sure?
If you throw it, yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Um,
Because it works like a javelin. Javelin's still strength.
So that's 9 damage.
9 damage, man. As you suddenly get, like stabbing pain in your back, you fear that somehow you've missed an enemy flanking you, and then you look and you just see that Bjorn has kind of slipped over himself and accidentally thrown an axe in your back.
She just she roars out just as she sidesteps and attacks this girl twice, recklessly.
Oh, sorry, not your turn just yet. My bad.
Sorry.
I guess I explained it terribly. Apologies. A lot of worse things have to happen first. Because the room on the left, the door that you didn't check, Bjorn, you start to hear shambling as if something's been alerted. And then breaking through the rotten kind of wooden door behind you guys, you see two undead looking rotted flesh humanoids. These guys luckily don't have too many worms on them, but you do see that there is a couple of them, as if the infection is just like the parasite is just beginning to eat them. And Bjorn, they're going to come after you. This one rolling a miss. And then the second one kind of piles in and tries to slam on you, and also a miss. That would put Menez up next.
Okay, she sidesteps and attacks recklessly this crouching girl. So the first one is 13. Sorry, 20 modified.
Yep, gonna do it.
Second one is this is terrible, man. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's 12. Okay, 2.
Gonna do it, both of them.
She does 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 points damage.
In total?
Yep.
All right, very nice. Oops. Okay, that puts you like that. And as you're just like, with everything you have cutting into this thing, worms falling away and bursting into this pussy kind of thick, disgusting liquid. Each time you chunk into them, you just chop a bunch of worms in half and leave rotted flesh exposed. This creature does not seem to be bloodied yet, though, as you have been striking powerfully on it. Is that it for you, Menez?
The last thing she does is she goes into a rage.
All right, yeah, you just had enough of it. You just let out this yell and begin to ready yourself for the next round. Fletch, you just been clawed by this. You look down, you see an open wound, and actually see like a worm actually crawling around the wound. You kind of instinctively panic and just pat it off. It falls away, but as you're patting it off, you look and you see several more of them on your arms and stuff.
Do I have to use like a full action here to just not get infested with parasites?
You sure do.
That's what I do.
All right. Let me actually see how this mechanic works here. I'm new to this feature. Blah blah blah. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, you don't even have to, luckily, it doesn't make you attack or anything. So yeah, you spend your entire turn batting these insects away, and as you do, you see that one actually is like starting to like ingrain into your arm, but you just quickly kind of grab onto it, and you pull, and it's like latched onto your skin momentarily, but you just rip it off. There's like a little kind of red spot from where it was trying to bite into you, but you get them all off. Anything else?
Well, no.
No? All right.
Nope.
A third zombie now from the room that you guys didn't check on the flank now kind of lumbers its way out, and then seeing Bjorn at the back door kind of steadying himself with two of these zombies on him, it lunges forward and rolls a 17 to hit.
Yeah.
All right. Give me a dex save.
That's a 6.
Hey, you take 4 bludgeoning damage as the zombie grabs onto you and just basically like punches you, just trying to knock you out and bite into you. But as he does so, you see that some of the parasites that are on this thing also jump off onto you, and you now have some parasitic worms crawling on you also. Back to the top of the initiative, Gar, you're basically sandwiched in between 3 zombies and this horrible infected worm victim. What do you wish to do?
Gar, well, he's assessing the situation. He's going to use his quarterstaff, and he's going to smack that creature, the horrible, ugly creature, with, let's see if he'll hit. 19, so I'm assuming that'll hit. But then I think I'm going to use a key point see that. Yeah, 8 bludgeoning damage with the quarterstaff.
8. All right. Let's see if you bloodied her yet. You have indeed bloodied her with the second swipe of your quarterstaff now.
All right. And so, yep, key point to attack 2 more times. That's a natural 20.
Hey, there you go.
14 bludgeoning for the second attack.
Very nice. Put some
And, yeah, that's a 16, so that'll hit. 8 more bludgeoning damage.
Very nice. So yeah, you put this creature in a pretty fair amount of pain as you quarterstaff one side of the head, kind of knocking away bits of worms, do a quick flourish, and then hit it into the gut, and then whipping it up again with an uppercut, kind of 3 times smashing into this thing. It falls back, and you just see worms literally pouring off of it.
And I am going to go ahead and use my open hand technique, and I'm going to inflict, what is it? The creature is unable to take reactions until the end of my next turn.
All right. Or say again, sorry?
The creature can't take reactions until the end of my next turn.
Interesting. That's just a feature?
Yeah, it's an open hand technique whenever I use a key point for Flurry of Blows.
Cool, cool. No save or anything?
Not on that one. There are 2 other effects that require saves, but not
Gotcha.
this one.
All right. She will not be taking any reactions. However, she will be taking you didn't disengage. She will be taking the offensive against you now. Missing 20 to hit.
20 will hit.
And the third thing is make me a dexterity saving throw.
All right. Yeah, I'm pretty good at that. 22.
Yeah, you're fine. You jump out of the way, but you see a bunch of these worms like launch off. They literally like go into like this spring like technique and then shoot themselves off. And you see it coming, kind of dashing out of the way, putting yourself open. She claws you for 8 damage, and that is it for her turn.
Menez tries to slice her as soon as she tries to attack Gar.
Oh yeah, you got a feature. Yeah, go ahead.
He does 15, 22.
Yeah, that'll do it.
She does 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 damage.
12 damage?
Yeah.
Whew. She is critically injured at this point as you almost drop her down. I imagine you actually chop off one of her arms even. And you just see like a pile of these worms kind of scurry out into the floorboards themselves. Bjorn, you're now up. You have 3 zombies on you.
All right. I will call out to Tempest, my god, and enter my rage first. Then with my greatsword, I will attempt to strike the first zombie.
Go for it.
That's a 15.
Yep, zombies' ACs are pretty low. Some of the lowest.
All right. So just give me a second. It's going to be a lot of damage.
No pressure. Math is hard.
Yeah, I just got a couple modifiers.
Yeah, it's fine. Chop them up.
So that'll be 35 damage.
Whew. You describe what it looks like as you take out one zombie in one round of swiping at it.
Yeah, so well, first, since for my great weapon master, I can since I killed it, I can do an additional attack.
Okay.
So if I hit the second one, I might make it into my sweep. Well, that's a nat 20 on the other one.
Yeah, I'll probably get it done.
Okay. Should I still roll damage or?
Yeah, I roll damage.
Because with my great weapon master skill, I have plus 16 damage.
Okay, plus 16? Jesus.
Yeah, plus 10, plus my strength, plus my rage.
Yeah, okay. Just describe what it looks like then. That's probably enough to finish it off.
Well, I just like scream out to Tempest and like do a diagonal slashing through 2 of the zombies, and they just like get straight cut up open.
Yeah, you knock them like right down, cutting them both in half probably. All right. Anything else on that epic ass turn?
That's it.
Perfect. You basically just swing, chopping one in half. You hear the thud as it slips down and hits the floor. Yelling out again in rage, you chop down another one and basically cut it like right in half down the forehead. Heavily breathing, basically positioning yourself ready to fight now. You position yourself in line with the last zombie. However, on the floor, the one that you just literally cut in half from the torso down, you see that it has shambled back, and with its undead fortitude has come back at 1 HP on the ground, and it's going to try to crawl at your leg. You see at the last second, though, as I'm rolling abysmally, and just basically stomp at its hand, not getting grabbed.
Just a quick question. I do radiant damage because of my class.
Oh.
Does that affect it in any way?
Yeah, that would affect it in a lot of ways, because I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check. On a success, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah. So yeah, it's fine. It's super dead. Just kidding. It shambles to life momentarily, and then you stomp its head out, and it is dead. All right. Next up, finally, after kind of taking a little stroll around the depot, Iku pushes open the door and sees that you guys are under attack from a zombie. She kind of dashes from one side of the room to the other quickly, putting herself up behind the other zombie. She looks to the creature and says, "It is time to rest now, foul creature. I will bring you back to the afterlife." And punches into it. And yeah. Iku almost knocks it out in one strike also. Menez, you're now up.
Absolutely. Menez tries to carve this little girl in two, taking the head and then the midsection. And she takes -5 on both attacks. So that is, 16 plus 7 -5. So the first one hits and the other one is 4. The other one misses. So one hits, doing 16.
Yeah, describe what it looks like as you take her out. She only has 4 HP. She is super dead. You can describe what it looks like as you give her the finishing blow.
So she goes to slice the first time, and it just like cuts into like the table, and then she just spins around and just like takes the head clean off as it just like hits against the wall, and her body slumps to the ground. And she spins around and moves towards the last zombie that was there.
All right, you position yourself up to it, and as you come up, you basically come around the same time that Iku is run into the hallway and is punched inside of its back, and the creature almost falls down in one strike, but steadies itself. Now completely cornered. Fletch, you're the next person up.
Only one left now, right?
Yes, sir.
I shoot at it.
Please don't hit me.
19. And the other one's 10, which I think is enough, right?
Yep.
Lit. First one's 9 damage. Does that down it?
That downs it.
Does it live?
Yes. You see it at the floor. It drops down to the floor, landing in its chest. And as you look down, you see its eyes still open, trying to chomp at the ground.
You load another bolt in and pull it back and let it go. 6 damage. Is it still alive?
You watermelon its head, and it is done.
Whew.
All right. So yeah, kind of heavily breathing now. You find yourselves in the room. The stench of these undead corpses. You look back at this parasitic infested girl, and you see that a lot of the worms are now like scurrying out from the body, leaving this like gnawed on remains. The corpse itself is just barely like any flesh left, and just like mostly bone. It's shocking to think that anything could, well, obviously she wasn't living, but anything can like walk around with just that frail of bone left. Even some of the bone has been eaten away by these terrible worms. It's at that point that Bjorn, you feel a stinging pain as you take 8 necrotic damage as you forgot to bash away the worms that jumped onto you when the first zombie hit you. And as you look down, you see that a couple of them are eating into your flesh now and trying to burrow underneath your skin. What do you do?
Can I just like pat them off?
Once they're in your skin, let's see. No, it looks like you're gonna have to probably cut them out a bit unless you have some other means. They're in there now. You don't have to cut off a limb or anything, but you're basically gonna have to dig in there a bit.
Does the remaining of my rage and radiant energy would help me in some way to handle these?
Probably help you resist the damage that you're going to take cutting them out, but I don't believe, unless you have some kind of special rage feature, that it stops anything from eating into your skin.
Nope. All right, well, I'll pull them out.
All right, so you pull out maybe a little hunting knife or something.
Yeah, I have a dagger.
And get ready to dig them out before they get too deep.
Do these count as one creature, or are they multiple creatures?
There's a couple of them on him. Why, you got something?
No, I'd have to burn all my shit, so I might as well just let him cut them out.
So yeah, as you're getting ready, you basically have the knife and you're looking and you see that there's basically this dimple underneath your skin where the worms have wiggled under, and you can see them wiggling deeper and deeper, and you get ready, basically gritting your teeth. You hold the knife up to your arm, and just before you stab in, Iku walks up to you and just grabs the hunting knife and pulls it away and says, "Hold on, my friend. I can help you." And she holds her hand over your wrist where they are momentarily, and you kind of get worried, I need to get these things out before they fucking get inside me. And then you just feel a warmth over her hand, and your skin starts to almost feel like it's burning hot momentarily, and you actually start to tighten your muscles in pain as it's just getting to that point where your instincts kick in. You need to pull it away, but she holds you, and then she just lets go, and you look and you see that the worms have actually crawled themselves back out and basically fried.
Sweet. I thank her.
What's that?
I thank her.
She says, "It's no need to thank me." And then she walks away, actually. And then you see her walk from one side of the room to the corpse, the gnawed remains, and drop down to her knees. And she begins to start crying. The first time you've ever seen Iku do something like this before. She's always been a pretty uplifting, unshakable force. But you now see her drop down in front of this girl and begin to weep deeply.
Iku, do you know her? Mina says as she is taking a vial herself and tending to her wounds.
She just shakes her head no.
I'll check the remaining rooms that weren't checked before, just to make sure there's no other zombies, or even
give me a quick investigation check.
Okay. Even if there's supplies we could use or whatever.
Yep.
15.
15. You definitely find some things for sure. While I'm pulling that up, Menez, do you do anything else?
No, Menez is she drinks down 2 of these potions just to try and heal herself up. And she says, "Bjorn, you have a hard swing," she says. Understanding that in the fray of battle, a lot of times you get friends,
Absolutely.
Gar will look over at Iku and ask her if she knows what these creatures are. and how they do what they do.
She looks back at you as you say that, and you just see like these big crocodile tears rolling down her face, as you can just tell that she's deeply saddened. And she looks to you and she says, "I've never seen anything like this before. These parasites." And she slams her hand onto the ground. "This is not like anything that has come to Chult before. This is new. This is a mutation of pure evil. Chult used to be a beautiful place, and now something is desecrating it and devouring it. I just want it to stop." And she slams her head again.
It's definitely mutating. When we were in Camp Vengeance, this disease was affecting also animals, which was the first time it spread to animals also. But your powers seem to be able to affect it. And she looks towards Bjorn's like burnt hands.
She wipes the tears away now, realizing that she's kind of made herself vulnerable, which is not typical to her, and she steadies herself up, wiping away momentarily and clearing herself. "My powers, they're only a temporary block in the exploding dam. I am just one person, and whatever this is, it is growing quickly. That parasite, something else. Like throat leeches, but far worse, far more evil, not natural in any way, in the undead plague scourging the animals, like you said. Whatever evil is here in Chult doesn't want to just erase death, but everything. It wants to devour all, swallow this jungle whole, and we must stop it." And then she kind of walks out. "I have nothing else I would like to see here. When you guys have made sure you're comfortable that it is clear, come and find me. I'll be ready for the next leg of our journey." Investigation check. You find a gold locket, Bjorn. And as you open it, you see a portrait painted inside of it. I'm going to let you tell me, for a point of inspiration, what is painted inside this portrait.
It'll be the portrait of a beautiful woman, just like staring in nowhere really, but we kind of understand that it was probably the same what used to be the body that was moving and attacking us in the main room.
Absolutely, yeah. And you look at it, and it's just kind of shocking to see that like whatever evil is here has stripped away like that beauty, youth, and life, and turned it into what lays on the ground moments ago, just attacking you. The locket itself looks like it would be worth around 25 gold if you were to just sell it. You doubt that it would have any use for this poor corpse anymore. And other things that you find, incidentally enough, are basically as you go back to the room where she dashed from, you see that there's like a lock chest. And maybe before this person was infected, this was maybe where she had her quarters. It's like a bed. And you see an embroidered silk handkerchief that also looks to be worth about 25 gold if you were to sell it. You see a small mirror set with a painted wood frame, also looking like it would probably fetch around 25 gold. And then you see a pretty not nothing like particular about it stands out. Just this like knapsack, this bag, with a scroll paper inside of it. But as you pick it up, the bag itself is still very well intact, whereas the rest of the room, and besides these things that are kind of spilled out of it, the mirror, the gold locket, the handkerchief that have spilled out of this bag, everything else in the room seems to be basically rotted or deteriorated away, except for these 5 things that you've found. So a small mirror set, a gold locket, a handkerchief, this bag, and a scroll. Everything else is
Was that in the box or is it still locked?
the box itself was like kind of open, and you just see this stuff like scattered in.
Okay. I'll show it to the other members of the party and say we can just split it at the end with whatever other treasures we might find.
Does the scroll say anything on it?
If you can open it up, if you have proficiency in Arcana, you can give it a check.
I'll hand it to Fletch.
Well, I don't have proficiency in Arcana, but I can read things.
I can read.
Cool. You read a bunch of arcane scribbling that without Arcana you probably can't comprehend.
Fortunately, I have comprehend languages.
Hey, I'll give it to you then. Are you going to spend it?
Yeah, I'll spend it.
All right. This looks like a scroll of inflict wounds.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? You check
No,
around the
scrolls.
room. There's no other zombies hanging around. Doesn't seem everything else seems to be rotten. It's just for some reason, however, these 5 things were able to stay pristinely in good shape.
So you said that there were like maps and stuff in the other room, but they were also in a different language. Can I take a look at those and see if there's anything written there that might be pertinent?
Yeah, sure. Give me a investigation. You have the control.
Crit.
Crit? Oh shit, I'm not ready for that.
Eh.
All right, so it wasn't so much with a map. Sure, we'll say it's a map. Basically, this map detailing shipping logs, and with a nat 20, we're just gonna say that Nangalore was one of the places that they used to ship to, and it is like just stamped right into the map, so that you don't really have to dick around looking for it once you get to
Let's
the point.
go.
Trying to think of what else would be potentially.
Maybe if there's like supply drops or like stations in the jungle somewhere that might still be around potentially.
Yeah, I'm looking, and around this area, the river itself that it flows to, doesn't really seem like there would be a whole lot else that they deliver to. Probably Omu, but they wouldn't have any records of it, this place in particular. Omu has been
That would have been sweet.
yeah. Hey, there's the Lost City.
Yes, we
Yeah,
found
other
it.
than that, other than the actual, or what's this actually? Let's look it up.
That's all right. The spell slot's worth it if it lets me not fuck around after we actually get upriver.
Yeah. And I'll say that because I was originally planning for it to be another one of those. So basically, you're going to have to make 2 exhaustion checks. I'm going to say the last leg of it, you just circumvent the exhaustion check. So you guys are only going to have to make 1 now. So yeah, it's well spent. I will, however, say that, let me just double check. Okay, yeah, this is pertinent. So also, there was a merchant trading vessel that has been marked off on this that was supposed to actually go down to Refuge Bay. It was called the Narwhal, and it was supposed to basically deliver some supplies. It was going to drive around the Refuge Bay and then go basically beyond the peninsula to somewhere else, but it shipwrecked before it got to Refuge Bay. So basically, you can put on the map for rumors that there is a merchant shipwreck somewhere around the coast between Kitcher's Inlet and Refuge Bay. That seems like something that could potentially be looked at later on.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sweet.
All right. with that, you guys basically grab what you grab. You're gonna just decide who gets it later.
Yeah.
And you head out. Iku is sitting there by the canoe. Basically, she seems to be just like deep in thought. Has the canoe basically just held, waiting for you guys to set in. And as you look, you see that this river that flows down the river Orlang, or Olang, sorry, basically immediately starts heading in towards this massive gorge or cliff or whatnot, basically on both sides, this crevasse. And it just instantly, cliffs seem to climb up on both sides very high, and it seems like you're going to be like sailing right through the center of it. Anything else you guys would like to do before settling out? I'm imagining that you would signal Ortime and tell her the coast is clear, and if she wants to anchor her ship and do some repairs and rest for you guys, that it probably could be doable. Although if they get attacked again, they might get into trouble. So what do you guys want to tell Ortime to do?
First of all, are you guys keen on doing a short rest to get back up some HP, or are we leaving right now?
Yeah, Menez would like to definitely take a short rest anyway. How does that work with exhaustion? Do I have to wait for a full rest for that, right?
Yeah, you have to get an actual full long rest to get rid of that, which I guess technically you guys could sleep here for the night if you wanted to, and if you don't get attacked in the middle of the night, you might get a long rest.
What are you guys thinking?
It's more to do with the group. For me, if you want to move on, she'll move on. She'll just take a short rest, but she's happy to take a long rest because she's definitely feeling the exhaustion. But she'll move on if that's what you guys want to do.
If we stay there, we could also help Ortime with any repairs or that the boat would need, and give protection in case they would get attacked.
That definitely wouldn't classify as long rest.
Okay. But I mean,
fixing a ship, yeah. But yeah, you guys can stay if you want. Basically, this is a semi-defensible position, so there's a chance you guys can get a long rest. But there's also a high chance that something's just going to stroll in and try to fuck you guys up. So
she says, yeah, let's move it. Let's move on.
Okay.
All right, so you hop into the canoe. It's basically a 6-man canoe, so there's room for, it's pretty tight, but enough room for all of you. And you begin to set sail down the Olang River. It's gonna quickly kind of montage now. The weather itself stays rainy for about 2 more days. It's just like that rain that won't break. And you now find yourself in this massive chasm on both sides. It reaches up to about let's see here, as high as 200 feet at some points, and consistently around somewhere between 100 to 200 feet on both sides of you. You're just down deep in this canyon with this kind of slim river. You basically are having to like kind of canoe a bit upstream, but it's a rather slow moving river. And you begin to kind of montage now for the next couple of days, paddling down this chasm. And Iku would tell you that the name of this place is called Ataz Muhaha. And you're just kind of canoeing down. Really nothing to see, just rocks on both sides stretching up to the sky. You can look and there's just this thin blue or gray strip of sky above you, water in front of you, water behind you, and cliffs on both sides. And around the 3rd day, you begin to hear this sound. Actually, everyone give me a perception check before we get too far into it. See if you actually do it. 2. Nice job.
18.
18. Was that at disadvantage due to exhaustion?
Oh, shit. Yeah, 18.
18. Nice.
15.
I rolled a net 20, so 22.
Nice. So yeah, you guys, except for Gar, hear this sound. At first, it kind of sounds like something laughing in the distance, echoing. And then the laughter begins to grow and grow and grow. And then it turns into this laugh mixed with shrieking. And then the shrieking laughter just begins to boom louder and louder as it swells until there's this cacophonous sound of just screaming and laughing, just bouncing off the cavern walls from one side to the other. It just completely engulfs your entire senses of hearing. And you literally have to cover your ears as you just hear this scream, maniacal laughter. And then after several minutes, it quiets. Gar, with a natural 20, you would notice that you are not alone. Actually, 18 would see it too. That there seems to be on the cliff sides, hanging from vines and whatnot, monkeys that are watching you. Baboons, actually. Suddenly, everything goes quiet. The laughing. Everyone give me a wisdom save, actually.
Since I didn't hear it, do I have to make the save?
You heard it. You shut up.
Bruh, I rolled perception, got a 2, didn't
Perception
hear it.
was not for the hearing. You roll at disadvantage. Just kidding.
I got 1.
1?
Is it wisdom save? 17.
17?
14s, modified 15s.
15?
17 for guard 2.
17. So only the 1. Bjorn, you don't know what form of terrible sorcery this is, but you are absolutely terrified. You get the frightened status for now, as you don't know what is making that noise, but you do not want to see what it is. And then, go ahead.
Sorry, how? What happens with the frightened status? How does it affect me?
Basically, for now, because it's kind of like a modified frightened status, you're just at disadvantage while you are frightened. Technically, you can't move towards whatever's frightening you, but since you don't really know where the sound's coming from, it's kind of hard to like not move towards that. So you're just basically like stuck to the ship, and you're scared of, shitting your pants. And it's at that point that you come around a bend, and you see a stone shrine that stands at the midpoint of a bridge. It consists of an imposing statue of a Chalton warrior wearing a war mask, and it's hunkered down like a panther ready to pounce. You also see the likes of monkeys elsewhere on the bridge. The carvings are highly stylized, and as you look at this statue figure looking down at you at this bridge that's high above the gorge, basically going from one side to the other, about 100 feet high now, looking down at you, you see that the bright gems flash in each of its eye sockets. Let me see. You probably wouldn't see this part. You also see, as you're looking at the bridge itself, that along one side of it, the eastern side seems to be broken away, and there's these two large pillars that is on one side of the river and one's on the other side of the river that reach up and go and kind of support beam the towering bridge above. You look now and you see that there's a bit of tree foliage growing along the riverbanks on each side of you now, no longer just dirt and rock. You see that a bit of life is in this area, and you see the support beams themselves have these stylized carvings of monkeys engraved in them, about 4 of them on each pillar, all the way carrying up, and you see a bunch of vines overgrowing. The laughing now, whatever it was, has completely stopped. It's absolutely silent.
None of the monkeys that we see resemble the ones that we've encountered on our first trip with the yellow face.
Nope. These just seem like regular. Like you're talking about the flying monkeys?
Absolutely.
Yeah, these guys don't have wings. These just look like your typical baboons.
Absolutely. So I guess we look for where we can bring the canoe up so we can...
I asked Flesh to check the map and know like how far are we from the supposed what was it called again? Nangalore?
Nangalore.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pull out your map and you know that you're still several days away.
Okay.
Iku, as you're trying to figure out what this is, kind of gives a little chuckle, and she says, Ataz Mahaha actually translates to your language to the Laughing Gorge. As she sees that you're kind of worried, Bjorn, she puts her hand on her shoulders and says, the noise you heard was just the baboons talking back and forth and making noises, but as the echo and the reverberance of this canyon bounce off one each other, it turns into this horrible sound of a terrible death lord demon laughing at you. It has frightened many of adventurers, but it even frightens the monkeys, and that's why it stops. But in a couple moments, and almost on cue, you see a couple of scared baboons poke their heads out and look around to see if any natural predator is waiting to get them. And when they realize that whatever made the sound is gone, they kind of come out and they start to basically laugh back and forth at each other. And then you do see that you hear that the sound begins to build again.
I nod to her, like thanking her for explaining this, but I'm kind of ashamed of being frightened from the monkey, so I just...
Yeah, you just play it off. Like, I wasn't afraid. What are you talking about? All right. So, yeah, she says that this is just kind of like a scenic... It's a pretty beautiful thing to see. This bridge, this massive stone bridge, basically swallowed by the nature, the vines overgrowing on it. You see monkeys swing from one vine to the other, several feet above you, basically playing with each other. Hanging off the statues. You see one grabs onto the monkey statue itself and starts to like talk to the statue momentarily, trying to get a rise out of it. But obviously the lifeless stone doesn't talk back. Unless you guys want to see anything, she would actually point it out and say that statue looking over above is a shrine dedicated to Ubteo. Adventurers used to come here, or not adventurers, Choltons used to come here. And this is one of the shrines that they would pay tribute to Ubteo.
I asked Iko if there's like a village or something that is close or used to be here, apart from what we saw on the coastline.
Yeah, she would say that Mesro used to be really close to here.
What is that? It's a ruin now?
Yep, destroyed in the spell plague. It's apparently nothing but just ruins now. Abandoned for a long time and swallowed by the jungle. I'm just trying to read up about it right now.
Can I have her point it out on the map or double check the map to make sure it's there? It's there.
That check where Mesro is?
Yes.
Yeah, she would finger roughly where she thinks it is. She would also tell you that the Flaming Fist have a big encampment there. This is one of the areas that they basically was one of their first expeditions.
Interesting. And the encampment is still there. Like,
she doesn't really know what the Flaming Fist are doing.
Got it.
She just remembers when they first came here that they set out a massive expedition party to go search out the ruins of Mesro, and apparently were successful and yielded a big treasure haul, and that's what kind of started their presence here.
I see.
And supposedly they missed some things because there's another expedition about to set out there. But I wonder if this is the route that the Flaming Fist took, or if there's a better routes to get there, different routes to get there.
She shrugs. I guess we can only speculate about that. It would be pretty tricky climbing up these canyons, but looks like the bridge would be easy enough, I suppose. Luckily for us, we have the canoe. She just kind of smiles. Would you like to stop here, or shall we continue?
Let's just carry on, I say.
All right.
Yes, we'll move on.
Gar's a little curious about the jewels.
Oh yeah, are you gonna fly?
And
up
if it
check
would
them?
be sacrilegious if we tried to remove them, and he'll ask Eku that.
Yeah, Iku would nod and say, "Yeah, that's probably something that would upset the gods if there were still any here."
If I were to eye those and take a guess at how much they're worth, how much do I think they're worth?
What do you want to do? You're pretty far away, so you can't really investigate it.
I I mean, I could take a guess at their size and like what they might sell for, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, what would that be? They gotta roll.
Sure.
Crit.
I can fly up, so he has nothing to compare it to.
Like you're literally like 100 and some feet down in this river, looking up at these sparkling gems. Even with your 121. Yeah, and Iku agrees.
Yeah, Gar recognizes that the gods are still somewhat active in this jungle.
Not take the gemstones from the eyes. And then, unless you guys are going to go on a little adventure up there, you will keep sailing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So you now know that Iku tells you that there's no more laughing gorges on the way. It's just basically a several day sail down this river or canoe down this river. So we're going to go into everyone's favorite ability check montage here. As for the next, let me see how many you're doing to be useful and avoid getting exhausted. Thanks to Fletch's natural invention. Tell me what skill you're using to help alleviate the journey, and then roll and let me know what you got.
Imagine Gar's again using his agility.
You're the eyes or you're the kind of bird's eye view and quick game hunter for the group, and with a 22 you are more efficient than you are not efficient, so you don't exhaust the group any further. What about who's next? Bjorn.
All right. Well, I will definitely try and give my legs some rest to keep it from getting any worse, and like keeping its strength for needed use later. So I'll make sure I'm sit down, and I will try and paddle as much as I can to use my strong arms to a good endeavor. However, I rolled a natural 1, so.
All right. Yeah, you not really wanting to like be condescending to you and like make you feel like you're not helpful, basically like try to help you but not make you feel dumb about it. So you do end up slowing down the group a bit. That will add to the DC as we go later on. But Menez, what are you trying to do?
I've got disadvantage, right?
Yes, sir, unfortunately.
Okay, so she's even with
something there, but you pull yourself under a nice little canopy of tree line and dodge the invasion. That leaves us with one more check.
It's mine, right?
with disadvantage.
No, you're not at disadvantage. Only skill checks.
Or twice. So 17.
Yeah, you're good. As you get down to around the end of the River Olang and a couple days away from Lake Low, you are told by, or you're basically figuring out on the map, know that you have to turn off to one of these side rivers off the main river into the boggy swamplands. You know that Nisi's Waste, this terrible bog, is nearby, and as you look, you see that the trees themselves begin to change from these beautiful kind of tropical jungle trees to these sickly looking almost infected trees, and you see that the ground itself, where the river is and where the dirt is, becomes a little bit more ambiguous, and you just basically start to push your way through the swamplands. Luckily, now that you know where it is, you waste but a half day into it. You do basically find, let's read up about it before I go. Okay, so 6.5 days in, you've been paddling through this boggy swamplands. You see these thick, almost like furry, like cobweb vines that hang from the trees and drip down into the bog. But basically breaking out from the center of this area is a fantastic edifice that rises out above the jungle bog, a hanging garden of exotic beauty. Water streams down the steps between two massive elephant carvings. Beyond them, a broad flooded avenue runs like an arrow straight through, more than 100 feet before ending at a carving, and it scares you momentarily, but a carving of a Tyrannosaurus Rex's face that looks lifelike almost for a moment. But you see that water pours from this Tyrannosaurus's jaw and flows down this boulevard or this stretch of stone, the length of the entire concourse, and drains out down these steps in front of you. You see these 5-foot high terraces that flank each sides of this boulevard, and you see that there's these low archways, 3 of them, each built on each side of the terrace walls. These archways are in various stages of collapse. As the tunnels beyond them, you see these beautifully carved, larger-than-life stone faces that are mounted between each of the archways. Finally, you see wild profusion of plants growing in the upper terraces. Multicolored parrots and canaries that flit and sing among themselves. To the north, you see a dilapidated brick dome that rises above the Tyrannosaurus's head. And you also see, last but not least, a small bell-shaped dome that basically overlooks the highest point of this terrace, one on the far left and one on the far right. And this, ideally, is where I'm going to switch the map and, with any luck, show you the first half of Nangalore. Drum roll, please, as this may or may not work.
I just want to point out to everybody that the quest, if I remember right, is having a map to Nangalore.
Yeah, I'm like, turn around, let's go now.
Not with that attitude, we don't.
The next Tyrannosaurus we see, we should run from.
Yeah, let's just not try it. Let's just be smart about all this.
That's fair. So yeah, I'm kind of revealing basically what you see. So this long kind of road is where the water is draining from, and ideally this is going to work. I don't know how well you can see it on my side, but at the end of this road is a Tyrannosaurus's mouth, and it's basically spewing water. Let me see if I can show you that. And on each of these on this terrace, this boulevard of water and stone, there are 3 basically tunnels in different stages of decay that would obviously lead somewhere else. And then high above the stone walls on each side of it, there are these 20 feet high, basically like higher grounds towards the garden itself. So
is it like a wall?
Yeah, so basically on the we're just going to say north is up and south is down, but on the west and east side, those stone pillars are basically 20 feet high, if not more. And then the stone wall itself, or the water walkway, is level towards you guys basically, and then the earth above it is about 5 feet high, so it kind of creates this like mini boulevard or wall. Actually 10 feet high, sorry. So unless you want to climb, essentially you walk down the watery boulevard. You guys are in your canoe right now, basically taking on this impressive garden just hidden in this boglands. And as you look at it, the map maybe doesn't show it, but there's just beautiful flowers and overgrowth everywhere. It's like this mixture of what must have been one of the most beautiful gardens ever made, but the jungle itself has now grown into it, and maybe to some added to its beauty, but then others just added to the chaos.
So what does EQ proposes to get in there?
So Iku would tell you basically she'd kind of go into the tale that we already talked about beforehand, that this garden was made for a queen of Omu long ago named Zalkore. And it was made by her noble general warrior and also her lover, Thurutea. And basically, there is said to be somewhere in this garden flowers that let you walk through and explore the dream realm. And basically, Thurutea made this garden so that when he was away on wars, him and his queen could meet each other in the dreams.
All right.
She basically becoming like obsessed with beauty. Maybe used the magic flowers a little bit too much, and began to get a little bit thinking that like a bit crazy. She didn't think she was beautiful enough, so she ended up making this deal with some entities, and they gave her immortality. But when this was discovered, she was exiled. So she was essentially betrayed by her general, her lover, and all of her people, and she was exiled to this garden, and then it became forgotten.
Okay, so are we tying the canoe and continuing on foot?
It's up to you guys what you want to do, as you're kind of just sailing around in the water right now.
Sounds like it.
All right, so you can begin to paddle yourself up. You probably want to at least pull up into the boulevard itself before there's nothing really to tie it off. Give me a perception check, everybody. Just taking in all of its beauty. You guys momentarily forget yourselves. You forget where you are. You forget that you're in Chult, where something is always waiting. And in this circumstance, something absolutely was waiting.
Oh,
and
God.
in the water, bursting out, is this enormous crocodile. And it chomps into your boat, ripping out, oh my God.
Oh, fuck.
Bruh.
Ripping it basically in half. That's a fuck ton of damage. It rolled a crit. Better the canoe than use, but it chomps into this canoe, this literally like 12-foot crocodile, and just rips out a segment of the canoe, and water just starts to pour into it. As you look around, you see that he has 3 other crocodile friends with him. As you guys have been surrounded in this water now with these massive crocodiles, your canoe beginning to sink. What do you guys all wish to do?
How far are we from the sides of the I don't know, canal?
So from the canal, you're about 15 feet away.
Swim like crazy.
All right, so if you want to swim like crazy, let's all roll initiative. I guess that makes sense to kind of do it. Man, what'd you roll? You're the first one to tell everyone what you're thinking as this massive crocodile chomps off a big section of your canoe. 3 more basically are getting ready to seek an opportunity. You probably have the easiest choice out of everybody.
I'm going to fly out of there.
Yeah.
But doing that, I'm going to grab my rope, and
Okay.
I'm going to leave a rope out for the others, and then I'm going to fly as fast as
Broken down big rocks and stuff that you could easily.
And then I'm pretty sure that would take my action. I couldn't go back and start attacking them.
Definitely your action, and flying, it would probably take up most of your movement too.
Yeah.
Fletch. You see Gar fly off, abandoning you momentarily, you think, but then you realize he's left a rope behind. This big hungry crocodile, vroom, his big massive maw slaps near beside you. You see the canoe is taking on an immense amount of water quickly.
I'm gonna try and kill it.
Yeah.
I'm up to shore using the rope.
Hey, and since you have a prosthetic crab leg, you actually don't lose your movement in the water.
I know.
You jump in, and for the first time, you move fluidly since you lost your leg, kind of kicking. You see the crab Aldini folk prosthetic really kicking in and kind of giving you that like leverage, and you can easily make it to the shoreline.
Okay. From there, can I use a range attack?
Yeah, sure. You spin around and pull out a javelin?
Hand axe.
Hand axe. All right. Menez ducks.
So that's 24.
That's gonna hit.
And for no, sorry, give me a sec. That's 8 damage.
On the injured one, I'm assuming?
Yes.
All right. You see it sink underneath the water as the hand axe goes into its head.
Okay. Lastly, I will use my fighter skill second wind to regain some HP.
Cool. Menez,
That's it.
you're now up.
As this thing comes in and crashes onto this boat, she just like tries to stable herself, dives, swims.
Up and about. Iku, what did Iku do? She'll just hey, you guys abandoned me. That's not very nice. No, I'm just
Fletch is still there.
Oh yeah, Fletch is still there also. All right, she would say, Fletch, it seems like our friends are heading ashore. Do you think that's what we should do now?
Yeah.
Don't leave me.
I'm gonna get attacked by 3 crocodiles, and I might just straight up die. So we'll see.
You're good, man.
She says, I think you probably should have left with them while you had your chance. Don't worry. I'll stay beside you. And she'll stay on the canoe for now, readying a dodge action or attack action, I guess, if a crocodile comes up. So next up are the crocodiles. You see that the one that took a hand axe to the face after sinking into the water now comes belly side up, as you did finish it off. The other one now, seeing Iku and Fletch, basically the two vulnerable things on the canoe, one dives into the water, then goes up and tries to attack Iku, but she has her attack readied, and she'll punch it right in the face. And she crocodile slaps it and does that, and does that, and punches the crocodile in the mouth, but she actually doesn't take it down. And it will chomp into her, hitting her, right? No, missing her. Holy shit. All right. And then the other crocodile will go for the canoe, chomping it and ripping it in half as it goes into 2 pieces. And I guess there's really not like a way to deck save this. You probably just are in the water at this point, Fletch. And other one, crocodile companion number 4, is going to go up and try to bite you. And it rolled an 18 to bite.
That hits.
And a 12 to hit. And whew.
Wait, 12. Oh, it has a 12 to hit? Fuck.
No, it did 12 damage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it did max damage. And, you're restrained in the crocodile's maw while it chomps onto you. So with that, it begins to descend underneath the water with you in its mouth.
Perfect. I'll see you guys next session.
With a
square in the back.
All right, seems like a good
One
time.
did-
Yep, disadvantage each in every strike.
Yep.
12's your mark, I'll just tell you.
Okay. Let's see. 12 on that one.
I'll do. Feel the grip loosen up on you. As you pull away, you see that there's a big crimson puddle underneath the water, but the crocodile seems to be knocked unconscious. Anything else?
Okay, so I'll just stay close to the shore and ready myself with an attack in case the crocodile come for us.
Okay.
So.
Menez.
Yeah, Menez shoots whatever is closest to Iku.
She makes it to the base of the stairs and not out of the water. And then she turns around and looks to the crocodiles and says, "Easy now, my friends. You will not find an easy meal here." And she will make a animal handling check. We'll see how it went for her. The crocodiles apparently disagree as they both swim at her and try to bite into her. One hitting and chomping onto her. Just like literally going up and slamming into her. But then that'll put us to the top of the initiative. It looks like it's trying to drag her underneath as the other one misses, and she's just standing there at the base of the water, like not being pulled in, standing firm.
Can I attack them since they got close?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I was going to wonder if I could attack as well if they moved. If I was in range, moved opportunity attack.
Oh no, that wouldn't have provoked an opportunity attack.
Okay.
Go ahead though, Bjorn. You might be
For 14 damage.
all right. Yeah, you definitely finished that second last one off.
Is the other one close by? Because I could attack it as well.
Yeah, they were both trying to pull Iku in.
That's also a hit for 13 damage.
Nice. All right. Fletch is now up. Iku says to you, I think they might have learned their lesson. They were just doing what they were born to do. How about we let this one go? As it's literally like hissing in front of her, snapping its jaw, like looking like it's ready to pull her into the water. She just got bit by one and it's loosened up her grip.
Is she still in the water, or is she like
She's
on
like
the side?
Charge for it.
I rolled an additional
Blaze as you like double killed it basically.
Sweet.
And then Iku's like, oh, or not. I guess we could just kill it too. All right. Crocodile Stew now behind you in the water. You look and you take on the impressive garden that is Nangalore.
I would like to so I throw my hand axe I won, so I would like to get that back and maybe get the corpse back to shore to make crocodile sticks with it.
Yeah, you could pull up a corpse and get some crocodile soup going if you wish to.
I'm going to go retrieve my rope as well.
Yep, you pull up the rope. See the cliffside. If we keep a kid bath, probably about 10 days before we're back to Kitcher's Inlet.
Could always check out that gemstones while we're up there.
She wouldn't want to say yeah, but yeah.
Maybe we can just build like a raft with whatever leftover wood we can find around. Well, if we encounter those other crocodiles, it might be a bad idea though, but I don't know. Are we wanting to go back now or?
No, just so that we've got a way. Just
so as you're walking, should be, but she doesn't seem to be bleeding or anything. And she would tell you that this place wasn't always called Nangalore. She would tell you that at one point it was called the Ka-Naji, which stands for the Hanging Garden of Dreams. But when Zalcore was exiled for making her deal with the demons, they changed the name to Nangalore, which stands for the Garden of Lost Dreams. She withered away here to deal with her. She was left exiled here, dealing with her immortality with no one, even through Taya, did not come back to see her. And as you're looking and you're walking, you see that as you kind of walk through this middle terrace, that there are these human statues in between each of the tunnels. Basically, as you walk down, water basically ankle high. You see that some of the tunnels have been completely buried or like caved in and mostly blocked off. You could climb through if you really wanted to, but as you look, you see one of these faces is a message from a statuette of an absolutely beautiful girl, and her face looks bemused, and there's a message written on it in an old language that none of you probably understand now that I think about it, but and the Jewel of Chalt. And as you look to your right, you see another statue, and you say, and it says, there's a face of a condescending woman, the same woman, but she has this condescending look on her face. And the message above that reads, worshipped by her people and by Thurutaya, who loves, but then that's scraped out. And in big, like angry letters is written, betrayed her.
Whoops.
as you walk further down, you see that there's a third one with a stern, same woman with a stern look on her face. And the message is, in this 10th year of her reign, may she govern forever in splendor. And then finally, for now, what you see is the fourth one with a serene look on her face. And the message says, and may the gods themselves marvel at the humble reflection of her beauty. And as you look at the statue, even though it's like centuries old, probably, the statuette is depicting a incredibly beautiful woman. You now, in the center of this terrace or whatever, this boulevard, have several routes you can go. There's basically 3 tunnels on each side. The tunnels on the western side, 2 of them are collapsed, so you'd have to climb over them. But as you look, you see each tunnel leads to a set of stairs that carry up into the second level of this garden.
I think take one, anyone.
Just like where each tunnels are heading to, or anything that would help us make a decision.
Yeah, and Fletch would just say it's nothing but religious mumbo jumbo. It's not useful at all.
All right.
And you said the stairs go up?
Yeah, so there's a set of stairs at the end of each tunnel, and all 6 of the stairs do seem to go up into the upper or second level of this garden, which is where a lot of like untamed plant life seems to be, and also is surrounded by this stone wall that is another 10 feet high on all sides of it. You haven't seen the staircase yet that leads from the second level to the third level. So it's kind of like pick a corridor and see what happens kind of thing.
Yeah.
I see, yeah.
Starts with the center one and starts making her way up.
Center.
Stairs.
Okay, and you want to go west or east?
She goes west.
She goes west. All right, so that's one of the ones that are caved in. As you start to climb your way up that, give me an athletics check. It's pretty low, but you would have to make at least some athletics check. This would be at disadvantage too.
With disadvantage.
That's what, sorry?
With disadvantage.
Okay. What you do see... 8?
No, she got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18.
Oh, yeah. You definitely make your way up there. As you start to climb over the main debris, though, you look back to everybody else. And are you guys all following her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, Gar, you can fly and kind of circumvent a lot of this issue. Give me a athletics check from all of you also.
8.
All right. And what did Bjorn roll? 17. All right. Interesting. Of all people, you kind of fall over in the rubble, and everybody else carries themselves up to the stairs. Gar kind of landing just above the stairs, touching down. As you fall, though, you kind of hear like the stones rubble away, and you make a bit of a noise, to which you hear twitching in the garden itself. And then as you look, these undead creatures, again, with the undead creatures, it's a reoccurring thing here. You see these zombie-like, actually albino dwarfs pull themselves out of the bush, and you see that they are completely encased in like plant growth. It's as if these vines themselves are their veins, and they're kind of bulging out of their arms. And you see 6 of these zombies kind of come out of the bush above you, Fletch, and then begin to like throw themselves down essentially on top of you. As we will jump into initiative. You can keep your initiative roll if you want, or re-roll it. So obviously, decent option there for anyone.
I'll keep my 18.
Yep.
I'll keep my 22.
Oh, amateur. All right. There we go. Yep. So we're locked in. Gar, what do you do first?
So
6 zombies.
where are these zombies? Are they the floor below us
They
now?
were apparently literally right next to us.
Hiding in the plant growth, yeah. Just
So
basically
everybody-
resting.
Everybody
And then-
is up the boulders.
Yeah, so they're above, and basically where you guys are, but they hear Fletch stumble over the rocks, and they're essentially going to drop down on top of him, or at least most of them look like they're going to do that. Some others might spot you though.
Help Fletch get up. I'm gonna throw a rope down to him.
All right, the rope, it solves all issues. Fletch fall down on you. Gar sitting on the other end of the rope. Grab on.
For the second time, grab the rope.
Anything else, Gar?
I will go ahead and jump down there and pull out my quarterstaff and kind of help ready to defend him.
All right, Bjorn, you're next.
I will position myself in front of Gar, which is helping Corey, Fletch get up the boulder, and I'll just stand there ready to attack when they attack us.
Okay, Menez. You're muted, my friend.
Menez jumps down, drawing her blade. She jumps down beside Fletch, and she attacks the closest one.
All right, go ahead.
2 swings towards these dwarfs. One is 17, and the other one is a 14.
Yep, that's gonna hit. 9 is the AC on these albino zombie dwarfs.
Got it. Okay, she does. For one of them, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 points, and the same one is how did I get 11? Sorry, that was 3 plus 4 is she does 7 points. Can I just roll this again because I just messed up? So one is 7 points, and the other one is both is 7, so 14 points total. As she just goes.
Yeah, you chop them right down, and as you do so, you cut right through him, and you see that this plant growth is actually kind of grown underneath his skin too. As you chop him up, you see a flower that's kind of growing out of his back, like just basically poof out, and then he falls to the ground.
Okay.
That's it for you, I'm assuming.
Yeah, she just she goes into a rage and she readies an action to attack the first one of these albino dwarfs that will attack Fletch.
All right, Iku's up next, and as she sees these dwarfs kind of attacking, her face goes to a bit of a worry as she yells out to the group, "These are not regular zombies. Everyone watch out for." And then as you look around, she says yellow musk creeper. And then you look, and kind of growing over the side of this wall is this weed looking like yellowy plant. This beautiful, actually it's a pretty nice like looking flower. These 5 big leafy petals, and then below it are these like almost upside down scorpion like tail roots, 3 of them that grow underneath it, and there's like a big vine of it wrapping around. And as she says, "Watch out for the yellow musk creeper," you see that these flowers exhume this musky mist right into all of your faces, because everyone jumped down there, right, except for Bjorn. Or did Bjorn, you said you jumped down there too?
Well, I thought Gar was still up there.
I think Gar jumped down for sure.
Okay, well, I'm still up there then.
All right, so only you are fine, as everybody else has to make me a, pulling it up here,
It's a disease.
It's a wisdom save, and it is not a disease.
Nice try.
Am I at disadvantage or not?
Nope, you're fine. Saving throws, you're fine for. Just checks.
Whoa!
Entranced by this flower. This is gonna last for a minute.
Wow.
So someone's got to get her out of that.
That's long.
and then jump down and punch one of the zombies in the face as she yells out, "Watch for the flowers, not the zombies. The flowers are what are dangerous. The flowers are what are doing this." And she punches a zombie and one-shots it. Fletch, you're now up.
Yeah, so Fletch is going to.
Let's see here. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Gar. That is a 16 to hit. Nope. All right, it misses you. Putting us back to the top of the initiative, you have one zombie that is not afraid, and then apparently yellow musk creeper flowers lurking around that are potentially toxic. Not poison, but I guess they're magical because it does say charmed.
It's toxic, but not poison.
It doesn't use the word toxic or poison, so I'm assuming it's not poison. All right, what you got?
I'm gonna go ahead and attack that albino zombie in front of me.
All right, go ahead and do something.
And use the key point.
All right, can't resist the killing blow.
Good. Yep. That's 18. That is all right.
Fletch turned them away, so they basically retreated into the water and suicided. And now everyone's basically in a panic trying to get away from these flowers. And as you look around, it's kind of confusing because although she calls out yellow musk creepers, you look around and you see at least like 1,000 different colors of yellow flowers. So to actually discern which one she might be talking about might be a little hard.
Okay. Then I will pull out a hand axe and just ready myself in case when either one of the members of the party attacks something or gets attacked, so I can attack it back, and because I don't really know what I'm attacking.
Yeah.
So that's
Menez.
gonna be it.
So Menez is just like, she's become relaxed now. Her rage is gone. She becomes relaxed and just
smell it. So you kneel down and you begin to take a whiff of this flower, who has readied itself for you to do that. It will try to use its touching strike. Interestingly enough, charmed, I don't think gives you any disadvantage. So I'm going to believe a 13 doesn't hit you.
Ooh, I've got 14 armor class.
Menace is sniffing the flower.
Don't sniff that. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and throw it.
That's 9.
9 is a miss on the flower, I believe. Let me just double check.
Please
No,
don't make me hit again.
That's definitely a hit, actually. This is the
hit?
lowest AC I've ever seen on any creature.
All right. I roll for 9 damage.
9 damage. All right. You throw your hand axe at a flower. Amazingly, though, is you don't kill it or even bloodied it.
Tell me there's like concentration for the flower, please.
No, it's not. Is this radiant? Is all your attacks radiant?
No.
No? Okay.
Only when I'm raging.
Perfect. So I like to hear. All right. Iku is up next, and she's seeing that you are entranced. I think she can do something about that. Let me just double check here. Blah, 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 blah. No. Really? Okay. Interesting. Oh, wow. I don't think she would do that just yet. That seems like something she'd probably hold on to. So she is not going to do that. Sorry. She will, I guess, try to rip the flower out of the ground. And as she definitely hits it, she will rip at it and start pulling parts away of it. But she still does not. And the creature, on its turn, as she's ripping away parts of it and you're throwing a hand axe at it, begins to regenerate and almost has undone all the damage to it.
How much AC does it have?
Very low, but you wouldn't know. And then it's going to try to attack Menez again. This time rolling a 14 to hit. It does so. All right. Here we go. This thing's not fun to get hit by. You take oh wow. Okay, I lied. It's fun to get hit by. You take 8 damage as I rolled very low.
Okay. She inhales this thing, spluttering.
She seems to love it, but as you look at her face, you see that like there's like clearly her nose is actually starting to bleed. It's doing psychic damage to her. It begins filling your... Actually, we'll discuss that when we come back to Menez.
Woo.
It's growing rapidly, too. Like, they just chunked into it, and all the damage they did basically was undone.
What the fuck?
Okay. So... Damn, what can I do here?
Gar was heading back up the ladder, but the stair.
11, you just break out of it. So we'll say that you snap yourself out of it as you see what Gar's about to do, because you still would have lost your turn anyways.
All right, so does a 10 hit the flower?
Yep.
Okay. So the flower.
Yeah, sure.
That's an 8?
Yeah. Its AC is
Sweet.
its AC is literally 6. I've never seen something so low. It makes sense though. It's a flower.
So, what kind of damage do I roll?
Just give me a D6 of fire, but it'll continue to burn on the start of each of its turns also.
All right. So that's 5.
5. All right. The flower actually withers and hisses in pain. And as you do see that it's caught in flame, you see that there is much more to this flower than what you just see. As there's like a vast network of roots behind it that it all seems to be connected to it. And it does not seem to like being lit on fire. Menez, you wipe your nose, seeing blood come from it. It filled your head with horrible visions. What did you see?
Yeah, my gosh, absolutely. She's wiping her nose. She had sort of like a flashback of like years ago when she was like in the rainforest, and she was a kid, and she was on the cliffs, and she had found this this Menez. And he says, "What does it mean?" And she says, "Daughter of the bear." And
he backs up, not wanting to get in range of this poisonous. I keep calling it poisonous, but I don't even know what it is. Psychic wizard flower. And it takes another bit of burning damage on its turn, and it just tries to do everything it can. You see actually vines reaching out like arms, trying to grab at anything that's in front of it, but there's nothing there, and it continues to burn. And obviously not being able to do anything on its turn, it takes that. It doesn't burn away though, so like honestly, unless you guys want to sit here and watch it run its full course, this thing actually has a pretty surprising amount of fortitude. So you can just basically walk away from it and know that it'll be fine. And then now that you see it, you can kind of keep your eyes peeled for it and not walk into another yellow musk creeper.
That sounds good.
One last thing.
Yes.
So having composed herself, and she like scampers up to where which is
12.
12.
12, 12, 12.
2.
12.
Okay, so you don't necessarily see a whole lot, but you do see on the eastern side that there is a staircase that leads up to the 3rd level of this garden. If that makes sense. You're muted if you're trying to speak, Menez.
Sorry. From where we are before, we could have seen that there was like a dome.
To get there, there's actually 2 other domes behind it, which sit at like a 4th level. But this massive dome in the center definitely is on level 3.
Absolutely, and it's kind of weird because, like, she, what can I say? Because she's tired, exhausted.
Been, but you guessing that it's some kind of like ornate. It looks like a humanoid, but it's literally so thickly engulfed in cobwebs that you can't even make out what it is. There seems to be no way up to that though, so nonetheless, you would need to head over to the eastern side, which you have three tunnels to choose from. Up to you guys if you want to do bottom, middle, or top.
Stick with middle, I guess.
It's good.
Middle's good. All right, I love it.
Is it?
Middle is great.
Is it good?
Can we look down them and see if there's a difference? Like,
The middle one has half of a segment broken away, and the top one is basically like fully encased. But as you look down them, it's just water and not really anything. Vines kind of overgrowing into it, but none of them seem to have anything in it. You look
how far apart are the two tunnels?
actually be celestial.
We're just doing it.
No,
All right.
absolutely.
Just walking down it all proudly. You come up to the top. We'll give who's in the lead. Let's set up a marching order.
Unless you guys want to say Menez will go first.
Menez will go first. All right, Menez, you're the one leading the way. So let's see how perceptive you are as you're trekking down. You basically make your way through the tunnel. One half of it is broken, so you actually see the kind of sun now beating down in this area.
We should light a torch or a lantern or something to carry along.
So she gets 13. Definitely, if it's too dark, she's going to immediately.
That one of the thick vines that are overgrowing actually begin to slither down into the water and actually head towards your foot. When you see it, from you, literally like within seconds away from grabbing you.
Okay.
How do you? Yeah, you chop down on it, reeking of a creature, and then I'll reveal that above was a man-eater. Just basically like this giant Venus flytrap that was trying to catch anything silly enough to walk in its way and then pull you in. But as you've seen it coming, obviously you can. It's a plant, right? So it's not like this super crazy fast thing. As long as you see it, you can basically avoid it. So you pull yourself up, and now bringing you to the eastern segment, you see that half of the wall along the eastern bank has basically been like collapsed in, and there's actually massive roots that have started to grow through it. And then finally, what you've been looking for is the staircase towards the north that lead up into the garden segment. As you do so, I'll start to reveal the upwards and readjust your view. But Menez, as you come up to this second level, and you're looking around and you see the stairs, you hear whispering in your ears, but also all around you. Shaka, shaka, waka, waka.
She says, "Can you hear this?" She says back to the group, but she also says loud enough for them to hear. She says,
Weird question, actually. But who's the tallest of the group?
I'm 5'11".
I'm 6 something.
I'd probably be like 5'9".
Is Gar tall?
Gar is 6'2".
So
Sound like the same nature spirit that we have encountered in Orolonga. I don't know if you remember, but like the little spirits that showed us the way up the ziggurat, they were making that kind of sound. Maybe I'm just overthinking this, but
yeah, she nods for a moment and just checking with you, Chris. Does it sound
towards the eastern side, basically around the stone wall, 20 feet above you guys, but you see that there's a broken statue mound, and basically it's this bell-shaped dome sculpture of stone that rises above on the eastern edge. The one on the east side seems to be crumbled with age, but now that you hear the whispering, Bjorn, you see 3 little chewingas shyly peeking above a stone, these tiny little nature sprites staring at you. And then again, they whisper, shika, shika, wicka, wicka.
What are we going to have to eat this time?
I will nod at them like respectfully. And that's it. I'm not sure what I should do else.
Menez says, what did we gather for them last time?
Flamingos, but they're not colored the same. Like they have these really long, birded, bony legs, and basically like these pitch white feathers, and then these long geese-like necks. But then their beaks and their face are like painted this purplish black, almost as if they're wearing like a big mask. And I don't actually know. You wouldn't recognize what they are, but they seem like these birds of paradise, and you see a couple of them kind of walking around. So you see all kinds of birds and flowers and whatnot, and then you see there's 3 chewingas. 2 of them are like especially like ducking down when they see you, but then you see one third one poke its head up, and this one seems to be the tallest of the other 3 chewingas. They're like literally like maybe a few centimeters or inches tall each, but this one stands at like a whopping like 6 inches opposed to the other ones that are like 3 inches.
I'll tell them, show us the way, nature spirits.
Do you just give a persuasion check?
That's not gonna go well. Oh God, 2.
And it kind of pokes its head out and walks for you, but literally as it walks, it phases. So like it vanishes and then it appears like a couple feet further and vanishes and phases. And now it's on like a tree branch and then phases and vanishes. And now it's kind of like at your feet looking up at you. It stands like proudly and puffs out its chest. This 6-inch creature.
Menez offers
you don't know if it's eating it or not. If you're asking for a way, it doesn't necessarily know what you're looking for, so it just kind of tilts its head at you.
Absolutely. And she says, Queen.
Appear aggressive to the chewingas, was that it?
Yep, chewingas. All right. You begin to head up the stairs, to which point you see these 3rd level of the garden, which is actually kind of like a mid-level. There's actually, you immediately carry up to this set of stairs, and you see that there's these plants that are in this enclosed garden that you find yourself in, and it's like nothing you've ever seen before. Their shapes are fantastic. Their colors are like gems that are sparkling in the sun, and they're enclosed each by a 5-foot-high wall. So basically you're at like a midway point. So this is kind of like 2.5 of the 3rd or 3 possible levels in this area. So it's basically like a what's the word I'm looking for? A midway. And as you look into this garden, you do see another message scratched into the wall.
I'll ask Iku if any of the plants are dangerous.
She would look at them and say that none of these appear to be dangerous, but these do seem to be the Kaznishi.
What are these?
The dream flowers.
Is that what we're looking for?
I think so.
You see, without dreams, eternity is unbearable.
Definitely still up here.
Yeah, so Fletch would communicate that to everybody.
It doesn't actually have these, but it's like literally thousands of just sparkling little gemstones inside of it. And as you look at it, you can't really like put your finger on it, but they're like hard to look at.
Yeah, that was so my question. My question after you just said that was
looking at
okay.
That might be dangerous or interesting.
Yep. And what's Fletch doing?
I mean, Fletch doesn't really feel like he's got anything he can do. He's just like,
It's like there's traces of gold-colored plaster that still cling to the top of the dome. Everywhere else, it seems like it's weathered brick. You see that there's a few segments of the dome itself which have fallen through, and then larger than life-size elephant carvings are gracefully etched into the tower's spiral. And it's a magnificent sight. And even with, you can even tell that it's like an impressive thing, even though the time and decay have dimmed it. As you look around, you see that there's 4 other identical little alcoves or like garden holes that you find yourself in, one of which has a ginormous man-eater in it. And then you also see in the furthest northern section, basically in between these final 2 domed towers on the west and east side, a little pond. And let me kind of correct your vision right now so that you guys should be able to see basically everything that there is to see. And as you're investigating this flower, Menez, the Chewinga pops up in front of your face again, and it kind of laughs and shakes its head and basically does something along the lines of like going to sleep. And then it touches you on your forehead while giggling. It is going to give you a blessing. So let me just find out, how do I get to that? I forget what it's called. Blessing encounters. Here we go. It gives you not a blessing, a charm, sorry. A charm of restoration. So you have 6 charges of this. For 4 charges, you can cast greater restoration. And for 2 charges, you can cast lesser restoration. And this lasts until you use it.
Hold on a second. Restoration. Sorry. Restoration.
Everyone give me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, shit.
Dream. They're cool with it. Unless you guys want to literally go for a long time. We're going to end here and do our first ever part 1 of 2 series. Is everyone cool with that?
So this is part 1 of part 2?
Absolutely.
Like, if everybody agrees on going on another session, that's fine as well.
I guess we make the call here. I know like it's 2 a.m. for me, so I got to wake up, but I can run it if everyone's against me, but
I'm cool with either.
Yeah. And Craig?
Yeah, either way is fine.
Sleep, you all die.
Go for it. 1 vote
Yeah,
for
we
go
can-
for it. 2 votes for go for it. Everyone's
Let's
voting
do
for go
it.
for it. All right.
All right, let's expedite what's happening.
Like,
It'll turn into.
okay.
We'll see.
All
Oh,
right.
God.
Well, in that case, can someone go before me so I can think about that a little?
Yeah, sure.
Sure,
Start the
I'll
Fletch.
go.
What are you dreaming? What are you dreaming of, Fletch?
So
It's sort of like
And one of those birds that I described, those white flamingo-like masked birds, flies by and lands on the ship. And the mask it has is dark purple. It's rested on like the sail above, looking down at Thea, and then it looks at you, and it just stares at you with its beady eyes. And it was a majestic-looking bird when you weren't dreaming, but as you look at it now, it just kind of stares at you and just. And then you see Thea sail away on the ship. Bjorn,
All right.
what are you dreaming of?
So at first, he's a little bit confused because he doesn't know what happened. But then he kind of looks around, and first of all, he sees he has his both legs, which at first startles him. But then it just kind of makes sense to him that he would have both his leg, and you can see he's wearing like this magnificent armor that definitely looks used, but like is very good. And then he looks around, and he has never seen it, but he kind of knows that he's found the lost city of Omu, and kind of close by he can see like the end of his quest, which was like finding the artifact that was bringing the curse. And he just like feels triumphant, like having been able to find this. And he slowly walks towards the artifacts with his greatsword in hand and ready to end all the problems he has been going through.
And just as you're on your way to like find this dark entity, the death curse, the soulmonger, you, Bjorn Ironscar, is the one that's going to solve it. And you're heading forth triumphantly, both legs adorning this fantastic armor. And one of these birds, the one I just described, I'm going to call them what they are. Ablees is what they are pronounced as. Walk out. And it begins to grow in size, and it gets so large that it basically like blacks out the soulmonger, this dark entity that you were walking towards. And then it looks at you, and then a thunderous kind of bird, almost comical but like off-putting, just echoing loud, and it just booms out like thunder. And it begins to walk towards you, Bjorn, and you begin to walk away, and you're kind of running through the cities of Omu, the lost, forgotten city, the streets, and you turn a corner, and you're face to face with Fletch. Fletch, you're wandering around, looking for your parents, looking for your family, but then you realize that you're not there anymore, and then you see Bjorn, and it starts to snap back to you. Something's not right. Where are you? And you begin to look around, and you hear basically a crowd or something. A fight's going on, and you walk around the corner, and you see Menez with a crowd of people around her engaged with somebody in a fist fight, and they all vanish away. And Menez, you coming forth, and you're throwing this powerful punch to finally finish this entity, this guy that you're battling with, off, and you punch in the air. And then there you wipe your mouth as you see that there's nothing there. There's no blood on your mouth. And you look, and you see Bjorn, and you see Fletch standing before you.
I scream like, what is this madness?
Menez says, we're in the dream. We've got to wake up. We've got to wake up, she says.
You hear the voice call out to you, and I'm going to call it the voice, I guess, because this voice just basically overcomes every sense that you have and hits you to your very core. And it says, it's a feminine voice, and probably the most like tempting or alluring or beautiful voice that you ever heard. And it says, find me, my love. Where are you? And it reaches out to all of you, and Gar, you mistake it as Thea, because the voice the way this woman speaks to you is the way of someone who loves another person with all their heart, and you just feel that they're speaking to you. So you begin to follow it, and then you see Menez, Fletch, and Bjorn all standing there, all heard this voice in unison. You know it's not Thea, but you know that this voice is beckoning out to you. All of you. It's telling you to find her. And for whatever reason, as you hear this, it pulls at all of your heartstrings, or whatever drives you, whether it's bravery, whether it's love, whether it's knowledge. This voice that calls out to you seems to be the answer to all those things. And as you look around, Omu, this lost city that technically you all are looking for, begins to warp, and the ground itself begins to tremble, and bursting out from the ground is a flower, and then another, and then another, and then another, before hundreds and thousands of flowers are bursting around. And then you find yourself again in the Garden of Nangalore, the Garden of Lost Dreams, only it's different this time. Instead of a instead of a ravaged wildland of flowers and beauty mixed together, it is now Nangalore as it was in its prime. Kadnaji, the garden of hanging dreams. There's no more foliage. There's no more rubble. It is pristine and beautiful. The statues are glimmering. The domed tower in front of you stands there in all of its beauty. And you look at it and take everything in. And I imagine it is literally so beautiful that you've had to fight back tears. As you look around, the flowers around you are glowing and humming with energy. You hear a distant voice. Everyone give me a perception check. 3. Are you sure you don't have exhaustion?
I do have exhaustion.
Oh, you do have exhaustion. That's right.
Yeah.
That's 20. I had 3 as well.
Okay.
Oh, that's a 9 then.
I got 20.
So impressive.
Yeah, and try to wake up that way.
All right.
Do we see each other? Do we see?
Yeah, you guys all see each other. You see. Sorry, I blanked out. Bjorn, pull out a dagger and get ready to stab it into his leg.
And I'll just scream like "wake up" so they know I'm not just crazy.
Does anyone?
I mean, you're welcome to, Bjorn, but I don't think that's going to work.
She's in 2 minds whether to try and use it now to wake herself.
Just say, I give you my blessing. And I'm gonna cast bless on
Menez. It is nighttime now. And you are alone in the garden.
What?
Wow. She looks around.
Wait, we're not there?
For your human eyes. And then suddenly the figure's like walking straight towards you. You don't really know what to do, but you know that you discovered, and then kind of breaking forth, you do see that it is Iku.
Her first reaction is that. Her first reaction is, and then
with a graveness to her face, and say that they are all in danger. I'm sorry. I highly underestimated this place. She will be coming for them.
How can we help them?
She would say,
"Fuck."
And she gets to her feet, and the first thing she does.
I look to you, men, know my job to guide you in this aspect. This is a path you must walk on your own, but if we do not find your friends, then they will be lost. I need you to trust me, and I need you to find me a place where I can find them.
She nods. And the first thing she looks to...
it's an iron door that is rusted shut, but as you kind of come up to it, if you are strong enough, you might be able to open it. You can make an athletics.
Otherwise, what she would do?
Festooned with a Tyrannosaurus's teeth, and bearing a shield of intricately patterned leopard's hide that tower over the chamber and loom above a wide octagonal cistern. Deep gouges have been smashed into it, but the rest of the statue lay intact. Clutched in the statue's right hand is a stone spear, and resting on the floor beneath it is a clay urn. North of the statue, where you kind of have found yourself, is an open balcony that overlooks into the flooded garden northward. And then standing on the other end of this giant warrior is another statue of another humanoid, but this one is much, much smaller. And it is extremely lifelike. It depicts a man reaching for the urn, and his face is turned towards the bell, but the floor itself has been... You can see that there's some message of some sort scrawled into the domed ceiling.
Shit.
All right. Then I'm just pranking you. I was waiting for something else. If you're taking a moment to just take it in, you are too heavy and you collapse through the stone wall into the center of the pit. Give me a dexterity saving throw.
Absolutely.
As you see Iku kind of climb up too and whisper out, "Are you okay?" You groan out in response.
Absolutely.
She drops down onto the broken second balcony with a lot more finesse to her steps and walks down. And since you can't read the writing, Iku will reveal that she now can. And she will read it to you. True love, faithful general. Safe will you rest in Nangalore's eternal. None will disturb you while I live. Such is my vow of penance, and for my sins I cannot die. I will find you again, my love. I will find you in the eternal. Please forgive me for ever doubting you. And that's the message written on the ceiling. As she walks over to the other statue of the smaller man, much more like your size, there's writing beside it too, also in old. And she says, this one seems a bit different, fresher. And she says, once a thief, forever a slave. We'll pan over to our friends in Dream World. It's been a few moments now since Menez has disappeared. What are you guys doing? Minutes have passed. You have the dagger ready to stab yourself, but you've put it away now.
I will kind of look around, grunt, and proceed with the stabbing part.
You stab yourself?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead and do maximum damage with a dagger to yourself. Critted.
Oh shit!
Crit?
Yeah.
Fuck. So 8. So that's 11 damage. It's a D4 twice plus 1 time my modifier.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh my god! Are you gonna kill yourself?
Do I wake up? Are we standing where we were sleeping?
Yeah, we're in that same spot, or what?
Yep. And you see standing on the balcony that's not broken, a beautiful woman.
Oh shit.
She's veiled and just basically like her entire visage is covered in these thin, like silk, almost see-through robes, and you can't see her face or any of her features, but it's all alluded to. And as you look at her, basically she screams out and she yells, "How could you ever betray me?" And she just throws her hand forward and with a force of energy smashes into the face and just shatters it into a million pieces. And then she screams, "You've left me here. You've betrayed me. I will never forgive you." And then vanishes.
She vanishes?
Was she like flying? How did she reach its face?
She literally...
Is there anything else of note in the room? I imagine or something.
Give me a D1 comes materialize
Oh.
where you are. What is everybody else doing?
I'm gonna look around the room and trying to see if there's like some way out, like maybe a magical inscription or like a portal of some sort or a door that would, I don't know. I'm just looking for something that could help me.
Do you visualize this, or are you just looking around?
Well, I remember Iku saying that I had to wake up, so I'm just like really wishing to find something that would get me out of here, like wake me up. That would, yeah.
Give me a perception check.
Fuck, 3.
3.
Yeah.
You with a 3. What's that?
I was just saying you guys need to start using
Reroll.
17.
17.
Yeah.
You hear splashing around coming from the boulevard where you guys entered in. As you kind of go out onto the balcony, now that you're in this big dome tower, you see this figure again, this woman, and she's going and like scratching out and smashing all these statues that depict this warrior, and she would be yelling that she did this for you. I did this for you, Thortea, so I could always be beautiful in your eyes, not just in the dreams. Drops down to her knees and she begins to cry. I've just always wanted to be beautiful to you. And then she vanishes again.
That's the only thing I find.
From where you are.
Okay.
Did we all see that?
What's that?
We all like saw her.
Gar is going to go back out into the garden and take a look at the plants.
All right. The dream plants, the Kaznishi?
Yeah.
All right. As you look at them, they're just like fully bloomed and just emanating like this light from it that just seems to be actually reaching out into the skies. And it's actually kind of at this moment that you realize how surreal things are, as each and every flower seems to be shooting like this laser beam of light into the sky. And as you look around, it's almost as if you're in like this neon, like something that a character from this world would like never be used to seeing. It's almost like you found yourself in like a 21st century dance club. There's so many like neon laser beams shooting up into the sky.
I'm going to pick one.
You gonna pick one?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, interesting. The light from it fades, it flickers and flickers like a light bulb going out, and then turns to darkness, and then withers away. The figure of this woman is now standing directly in front of you, only arched above on the stairway, kind of looking down as you're in this garden 5 feet below her. You picked one of the gardens. She looks at you and says, "That's my only way to find him." Do you look at her?
I'll put my hand over my eyes and then kind of...
We're all trying to get home. Find me. And then vanishes.
Gar will slowly get up and make his way back to Bjorn.
Just get a quick review what happened.
She picked a flower, it died, and then the figure appeared in front of him, and basically said, "We're all trying to get home."
Okay. How about we try to find the same flowers that got us here, and maybe if we activate them somehow, they can get us back.
As you're all discussing this, one more scene plays out before you. You hear the footsteps, the march of several individuals, an army, and you look, and marching through in ornate, feathery, bright, vibrant armor and shields that just glisten and absolutely like reflect light. Like literally as you look into it, the sun hits these shields and it just bursts away in like an explosion of light in every direction that you can see. And these soldiers, about 20 of them, all walk with the shields in front of them, and they all march in unison. They all come to a halt. And then stepping forth on the balcony, now that you guys were just previously on, but now find yourselves in the flower garden, the woman steps out again. She asks the men why they have returned. She thought that she was exiled. And then they say in response that Thurutea had one dying wish. And the men, not putting the shields down from their faces, not revealing what they look like, one of them steps forward and has an urn, the exact same urn that Menez currently finds herself looking at, that the smaller stone man was reaching for in the current world, this clay urn, and they drop it. And they say to her, even in the decades that he was imprisoned for his betrayal, he still only ever wanted to come back to you. And then they about turn and then march away. This woman, Zalcore, looks back at the statue that she just moments ago for you guys destroyed. But now as you look, you see that this beautiful garden, this Kaznishi, this garden of hanging dreams is now beginning to shift, and parts of it are broken away and flying away. And you really start to enter into this chaos of this dream world, her dream world, where she is half torn it apart, but half at the same time kept it beautiful. And she looks at the statue of Thurutea, the one that she destroyed, and she cries to herself because she can no longer remember what he looks like. She destroyed it. And this fact of hearing that all he ever wanted to do was get back to her, despite the deal that she made, despite her betrayal to her people, despite the evil deals she made with the demons, all he ever wanted to do was get back to her. And she cries because she can't get back to him now. And we flip over to Menez. You're staring at this clay statue that this man, the stone man with a terrible look on his eyes, was reaching for. Iku is looking around.
Iku, Menes says, what concern?
That Zalcore made a deal with a demon to keep her beauty. But as all demons, there's a catch to every deal. She kept her beauty immortal forever, the most beautiful woman to ever be born to Chult. But the demons tricked her, and none could ever look upon her beauty and stay. And she points to the statue. Alive.
Oh shit.
And she nods. And
Oh no.
That she thought that Thurutea did to her. She was under the impression that he was the one that ordered the exile, and she never forgave him, and basically went into this dream world over and over again, reliving the moments that they had together, the moments before the betrayal, until it drove her insane.
she reaches out her hand. She can hear where Echo is.
That she just wishes she could remember what you looked like before vanishing away.
Do I tell Fletch to just repair its face, like however he did it before, making things appear, like if he remember how it looked like, just like,
Oh yeah, sounds like a good plan.
restore the statue.
You know what? Why don't we just bring him here in person? I'm sure he would come by. Here, I bet. Let me see.
Point. And he just kind of stands in front of you at attention, slams the spear into the ground, or the Ikawa.
Whoa, you can relax, man. You're like home. Like Zakora just.
There's like the pond or whatever it is at the northern side of the dome. Like,
Can I just imagine Zakore into existence?
She nods.
Or these two worlds, or the two worlds might merge. Fletch, give me another wisdom saving throw. You're muted yourself.
So this is going bad, and I got a 12.
All right.
Wait, but I can just choose to pass because as he pulls.
That's north of it.
Okay, so yeah, you walk out to the water. Basically beyond that, let me see here. I'll readjust. But that basically ends the garden. So on each side, the western and eastern side is a tower. But other than that, let me readjust your view. That's basically all you see.
Okay.
This, and now the garden itself is kind of swallowed by the chaos. Only this is much more like surreal and fantastic. Like there's actually floating stones that are now just kind of lifting in the air. You see the occasional like dragon that that Fletch has willed into existence fly above head. You see that some trees are actually like growing upside down, and the roots themselves are actually the top of the trees, and the innards of the trees is actually grown into the ground. You see that some of the buildings actually almost seem to be like moving. The trees themselves are walking around and socializing with each other. It seems that the longer that Fletch is here, the more like zany and chaotic it is getting. And you get the sense that you can basically will to a certain degree whatever you want to happen here, but it's basically at the same time it will exist, but it won't change the current state. So it's basically like you're altering your own reality, but at the same time, there is this prime dream world that is unaffected.
Okay.
And it obviously seems to be having this ramifications to Fletch. You can clearly tell that he's losing it.
Yeah, so Fletch is going to land, and his dragon will change to black. And then he jumps.
All this madness.
Oh, yeah, you're right, here. And in fact, here, I'll give.
That would appear between me and Fletch.
A stone wall appears in.
I'm going to take everybody down with me.
17.
There, check out that urn. For some reason, Gar's just focused on it for some reason. To existence.
Don't think about a dragon. Don't think about a dragon.
Don't summon Bahamut. Don't summon Asmodeus. Don't.
So yeah, you walk towards this urn, and it just seems to be like the ashen remains of some obviously entity in here. As you do, though, a boom of thunder echoes across both worlds. Menez, it begins to rain heavily into drifting into a dream-like state. Gar, it begins to rain also. But as you look up, these raindrops are heavy and long. And as you look, you see that it is raining poisonous snakes.
Oh, what the fuck?
Thousands of them are falling from the sky. And as they hit the ground, they explode into blood and gore, now painting the insane Fletch in this gory, bloody, dripping black armor, Vorpal sword now in his hand. He begins to walk, and as he does so, the stones that are floating basically go underneath his foot and basically form a step for him as he walks towards Bjorn, who's trying to defend himself, but obviously not maybe fuck with the dream world too much.
So,
all right, that's
is not what you believe, which I guess isn't that wrong. However, to continue this rolling, stepping out from the eastern tower is an entity. It is Zalcore that you all see in the dream world. Menez, you also see her step out in your world. You see her basically completely veiled, this dark silk veil that covers her entire body, but it's also almost see-through. The dead of night now, a crack of a lightning streaks down from the sky and hits the statue just in front of you inside the lake. And as it does so, it just ruptures and illuminates everything. And she begins to step down. In the dream world, she begins to step down, but bursting out of the pond itself are thousands of stoned fish that have been turned to stone, men that have been turned to stone, and they begin to lift up and form a walkway for her. And she yells out, and as she yells out, it's heard from both worlds. Do not touch my beloved.
Menez says, I will not. We will not. She says, Queen, perhaps we can help you. We come here and we will steal nothing, she says. I have some friends that have been trapped here. Could you help us leave? How can we help you?
She warps in both worlds. She's behind you on the balcony. Menez. But at the same time, in front of you, Gar, in front of the urn. You guys both have an opportunity to look away at the start.
Taken.
You avert your eyes down. If you could, what do you do, Gar?
I immediately close them and look away, look down.
All right. Now standing in front of you at two places at once, person who has just been driven completely insane says, no one can help me. I'll never find him again. He's lost to me.
What if we could? What if we promised, myself and my companions, that we would, however long it took, in some way try to return him? For we have also lost.
Can I hear Menez as he's speaking?
Yeah.
He's back.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. So I'm fine. Right?
Roll me a Constitution saving throw. Turns to stone instantly and withers away. And as you look at this beautiful princess, the veil comes off, and you see that her head isn't completely engulfed in snakes, and they all stare at you at once. And Fletch, you begin to turn to stone.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
I'm gonna ask Gar, what'd you roll?
I got a 13 total.
13. Menez.
I will back away and
Actually, first of all, sorry. When you're fighting a Medusa, the very first thing you need to decide on your turn is whether you're averting your gaze.
yeah, I'm not looking at that shit. I have seen Fletch look at it and it's not pretty, so I am not looking at it. But I will say, what if we no, I just say we could find a way to free you from your curse, but I will still back away from her and prepare a dodge action.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Okay.
I betrayed my love, and now I cannot even remember what he looks like.
I mean, do you just want us to kill you? Because you could just let us do that.
She hisses at you in so much anger. And as she says to you, Bjorn, I can make anything possible here. Yet
Then
I
why
cannot
are you
find
so
him.
unhappy?
Gar,
This is
you know,
great.
what you got, Gar?
Gar is look at
Avert my gaze. In fact, I look definitely in more the direction into a.
Sure. You have to give me a Constitution saving throw.
What is this, like on my turn or something, to like not turn to stone?
Yeah, the way petrification works in 5e, instead of save or die, it's save twice or die. So if you let me actually read the full thing, but if you
Was 13 not high enough?
Yeah, correct.
Fuck. All right, I think I might.
Completely restrained. Are you sure you can do things while you're restrained?
Yeah, you just have disadvantage on attack rolls, and things have advantage on attack rolls against you.
Strong enough, whereas she, who has spent much more time here, seems to be able to maybe manipulate this a lot more
So
usefully
it
than you
seems
can.
it seems like I can't affect.
Character might not make it.
I mean, man, I'm just going with the flow here.
Okay,
Your lacrim works. Can't remember.
something like that.
I'm gonna try and make a clone myself before I get petrified to death. Ooh, 18.
Nice.
Petrified. So
I'll give you a chance. I'll give you a chance. This is more than I was gonna give you. Give me a contested.
7.
All right. One swipe as she phases out.
But
Okay, yeah, I thought so.
20?
And then yeah, 20 damage. And Fletch, you only take 6 damage.
Nice.
Yeah. And that ends her turn. Is a void.
Okay, I will start by drinking one of my potions.
Okay.
And then I ask the Sakore, what if we avenge you if we find the demon that has cursed you? We don't mean you any harm. We're just trying to leave the place.
Yeah, so she says that she's saying that you mortals could not comprehend her suffering. The things that you offer me are just mockeries of my torment.
Okay. So she phased out to attack us, but now she's back close to Fletch. Am I right?
So she essentially, definitely in your world, it's a little harder in Menez's world, but she has pretty much free reign in terms of movement in your world.
Okay. I get that. I'm gonna prepare an attack if she attacks me again.
Okay.
And I will enter my rage.
All right.
And that's it.
Yeah, so essentially, out of game, there's a couple like trigger things that can really set her off. And unfortunately, you guys have hit a couple of them. So she's pretty triggered right now. So you don't necessarily know if you're going to negotiate your way out of this one now.
Okay. Quick question: how does it work combat with I'm not looking at her?
You're going to swing at disadvantage.
Okay.
Yep. So you're just readying attack.
Yeah.
Gar, she phased into one reality and out the other one in front of you. You see her bite at you with her snake hair, and as it does so, like everything in your power to not look at her face. I'm assuming you avert your gaze again.
Yes, I avert the gaze again.
Yep. So then it's your turn.
I'm going to essentially cover my face with the mirror.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go ahead and take a swipe at her.
Everybody else, I'm just going to assume, unless you say otherwise. So Go ahead.
Absolutely. So she scoops up.
There just yet. You almost get sucked in, and literally to not be driven insane, you have to do everything in your power to pull yourself away. And as you do, you're just blasted back for 17 psychic damage. You fall to the balcony. You get the sense that touching her, she said, is don't let anything touch her. She said it for a reason,
including me.
Yeah,
absolute. Okay, yeah, she's
right. Fletch.
All right. So Fletch realizes that he can't look at her, otherwise he'll.
Yeah, you're in big trouble. And give me your petrification save now.
Well,
Oh, I think your internet is also hemorrhaging.
Maximum hit point half.
Is Corey still there, or did he actually just warp away to the dream world?
Yeah.
Corey, you are no longer hearable. Try lowering your bandwidth. You're muted now. If you tried to mute yourself, I don't know. I'm gonna go on unless I hear you in a second, though.
Can you?
I hear you, but you're cutting out. Oh, maybe you might be good. All right, roll your con.
Yes.
Yeah, roll your con save.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna look away, so I'm not gonna petrify myself.
Oh, my friend, it is so late for that.
It's too late.
Oh yeah.
Fuck, man. Oof. I think this is the end. 4.
4. Fletch turns the stone.
Fuck.
But other Fletches are still fine.
Other Fletches turn to stone with you.
Fuck, man.
All right. Interesting. Gar, you now become the main focus. Oh my god, these rolls though. 16 to hit.
That is a miss, and if she's looking at me, she needs to make a con save.
True. She is definitely looking at you as she hisses. Good point. Natural 20. And as she sees that, she is even more angered that you would try to do that. Making her look at herself is her like second most ultimate trigger now, as you guys have like went through the checklist. And coincidentally enough, this is ironic, but I crit. So that's very cinematic timing to do that. And this is gonna hurt quite a bit.
Oh god.
Oh my goodness gracious. Good luck, Gar. Hopefully you are beefy. She does, I'm nervous to even say it, 40 points of damage.
Are you still conscious?
I imagine not conscious, but the more important question is, are you insta-dead?
You're muted, I think.
See, I have 11 HP left out of 31.
Yeah. That's a 10.
10 to hit her?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna do it.
That's it.
Okay. She's done. Jesus, crits with that attack is fucking nasty. Bursting into the scene, though, is a figure that is glistening with radiant energy. And as it comes in worm-like, you see these beautiful blue shimmering scales, this long snake-like entity with angel-like wings that spreads itself out and just with a powerful thrust of its wingspan. This creature, I don't know how many people would actually recognize what it is, so I'm not even going to say it, but just looks purely like a divine serpentine entity, and it is going to fly around to Fletch, and it's going to cast Greater Restoration.
Sweet.
Fletch, you come back into existence. That's the only one it gets. You're insane as hell right now. But the entity speaks into your head and it says, Fletch, please don't forget your path. And that ends its turn. Bjorn, you're now up.
I will attack mid Zalkori.
Okay. Disadvantage because you're diverting your gaze. Either.
That's a 23 to hit.
I'll do so.
Give me a second.
I just realized this is literally the first time you guys have hit her.
Yeah. Oh, really?
This is so bad.
So that's 7 plus 4, 11, 17. I do 18 radiant damage.
All right. Nice job. Anything else?
Nope.
All
That's
right. Gar, unfortunately, death saving throw. Get a nat 20. Jump back in this.
They're 15. Is that right?
Yeah, 15 will give you
11.
11. It's like chomping at the air, and it seems like everything is losing its mind as the Ebui, the long-legged bird-like creatures, now kind of come out and begin to look at you and all just wah, wah, from you.
Okay, where is so Echo is.
Man, the rolls I am doing though, like she should be actually so much more deadly than she is, but I'm rolling abysmally besides that crit. There's one hit. And there's probably 2 hits, 20 and 23, not natural.
Yeah.
All right. So 4 damage, and the big one is 14 damage. So 18 damage. You down?
Yeah, my hit point got reduced by half. So
Oh yeah, you're in trouble.
yeah, the 14 actually, well, no, because I still had HP left. It was pretty close. If I get hit with 18, I'll die.
Yeah. All right. Next, Celestial C going to do. All right. She is going to cast. And I've actually never cast this spell before, so let's see how it works. All right. Radiant healing energy emanates from her as she begins to cast Mass Cure Wounds. And everyone that is in a 30-foot radius, so Bjorn, Fletch, and Gar, take a total of 22 healing points.
Wow.
The entity speaks to Zakore and says, Queen of the Gardens, you have lost your way in the path, but the end you still might find. We will help you. And then to all of you, and even to you, Menez, you hear Iku's voice say, fight, my friends.
All right. Fuck it up.
Bjorn, you're up.
I will attack her recklessly again.
Okay.
So that's a 10. Doesn't hit. Right?
Yeah, 15 is your mark on this thing. Medusa, nasty.
So it's 20. I will. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm done.
Okay. Miss Gar. I imagine there's a moment where you see Thea as you're on the brink of death, and she tells you that your training would have meant nothing if this is where it ends. You come back to life and you see her lost dreams is just howling in agony and pain. And as you look at this person, you see that she is heartbroken to the furthest degree, driven completely insane, separated from someone that she has loved more than life itself. And you feel pity for her. You know you must save her from this torment.
Save her by ending the torment. 13 key point for flurry of blow, fury. What else? I've got 2. All right.
And she hits with all 3 attacks.
That's bad.
Miracle Serpent.
My miracle friend.
Interesting. And as it just shimmers and completely illuminates the room, you see that virtually no damage has been done. The Medusa then hisses in absolute anger as the snake hair begins to attack, and the third strike does get through with a bit of the poison damage as you see the serpent creature wince in pain for the first time. Next up is this creature, and it is going to charge forth and attack, hitting and doing a total of 9 damage as it goes forth and bites finally. And as it bites into this creature, you guys all watching it in Dream World swear that for a flash of a second, it looks like Iku just materialized and punched the Medusa square in the face, like she's done many times before. Bjorn, you're now up.
All right, I will attack it. 15.
15 hits.
That hits?
Yep.
Sweet. For 20 radiant damage.
Whew. Okay. Nothing else?
No.
You jump forth to the back of it now, completely surrounding this creature. You all unify under one. Whether you're in the current dream world or the reality, you're all flanking around and attacking this Medusa as she warps from one way to the other, increasingly growing more angry, increasingly growing more insane as she does so. You drop back and chop her down in the back. Gar, you're now up.
Gar will fly down 30 feet straight at her. And he's going to try and hit her with that.
You're now up. Gar, you land one strike, punch forth, and it warps away.
Absolutely. So Menez attacks twice.
Keep critting on that one. It's the worst one to crit on. So here we go.
And then all 3 of us were stuck in Dreamland forever.
That would suck. That would suck real bad.
No, we've got a killer now.
Serpentine with another biting attack. Oh my god, rolling a natural 20 in response.
Sweet.
You know, just back-to-back 20s, no big deal.
Yeah, you know.
All right, Medusa, really bad shape. Bjorn fighting back as they go back and forth, basically now like floating around each other in this fierce combat. Divine versus pure corruption. What do you do?
I will shout a war cry to Tempest and then have a 20 to hit. That will do. Give me a second. 10, 14, 21 radiant damage.
Okay.
And afterwards, I will take out a health bot and trying to give it to the dragon. Is that a possible thing?
No, that would be like an action.
That would be an action?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so I'm just going to try and step in front of it then to kind of protect it from the Medusa.
Gotcha. All right. With that strike, though, you stab into the Medusa's back. She howls out in pain as blood actually drips forth onto the ground. You look above you, and you see standing almost spectrally on the balcony a Chalton warrior dressed in, wears a banner and a mask over his head, and that mask is the mask of a snake, and he lifts it off, and the Medusa stops for a moment. The snake's rest, and you see that life is fading from her face. And she looks up and she says, "Sardutea, I've waited so long." The spirit smiles, drifting down towards her and embracing her. She apologizes for betraying him, for being mad, for thinking that he would ever leave her. And then, because the strike was true enough, the snakes turn to hair. She begins to turn to stone. "I've never blamed you, and I will always love you." And then they both just kind of fade away. You guys wake up. Fletch, my good buddy, dream and see Menez in an attack stance over top of you all. You also all find yourself in attack form. You look around and you see that it's over. You see the Medusa turn to stone, embracing something, embracing air, just in front of the statue of Theriutea.
Menez rushes over to Fletch.
She lifts herself up as if she just engaged in a terrible battle. And as you look, you see that she is badly bitten by what looks like snakes, and poison is dripping out of her blood. She pushes herself away past you, though, and falls down to Fletch. And she grabs you and embraces you and weeps and apologizes. She said that she should have been there. But this was not how it was supposed to be. This is not where your path is supposed to end. Where do we see Fletch right now as his soul is trying to transition? The key word being trying. You see Iku standing there.
I mean, it's not entirely your fault.
The celestial being that you've seen that almost saved you, but didn't quite. And she says to you, "I might not be able to save your soul, and neither will your friends, but we will at least try to stop whatever is doing this, so that souls after yours may find true rest. Hang on, Fletch Garrett, and don't go towards the darkness. See me for who I really am and look upon this radiance and remember the light, for the darkness is coming for you. And as she says that, a vorpal pool of dark funnel in the distance begins to suck up the light. And as you look, this horrible, dark, almost fetus-like monster. Look at me, Fletch Garrett. Don't forget the light. And then darkness is quickly sucking around everything. We are so much over time at this point. So it's going to get a little hairy, as I'm literally going to make you guys do a couple saves here. And if you overexhaust, then you die in the jungle of exhaustion. So
just a quick question.
Yeah.
Since Zakora is dead, can we just look around if there's any?
Yeah, sorry. That was definitely going to be accounted for. There's some treasure here that you guys will definitely get. Let me just find it really quickly.
I'm pretty sure
it's worse. 700 trinkets and like ornaments that you could basically sell worth in gold. So I'll just basically say, and then at the end of the game, if you guys make it, you'll just distribute it out. 7,000 silver, 600 copper, and a carved bone statuette, which would look like it'd be worth some more money, and also a cloth of gold vestments. So basically just a fuck ton of gold here if you guys can make it out alive. And obviously you can harvest some of these dream plants, which also would fetch a fair amount of price.
Sure.
So we'll say that you each harvest a total of 3 of these plants each, and your pocket's full. You know where Nangalore is now, and you know that all you need to do is make it home. So really quickly, the people in the dream world need to make a con save now. And you did not manipulate any of the dream world, Gar. So you roll straight up. Just got to beat a 10. Bjorn, you did once, I believe. So you got to beat a 12 right now.
I did twice.
Twice? So you got to beat a 14.
I got 20.
20? That's a con save?
Yep. Iku's help, obviously, but she's also badly injured for the first time.
Just the last thing. Are there any valuables on?
Matter if we don't get out.
Yeah, I mean, you guys
getting back.
You guys are certainly walking it back.
Okay,
your canoe got wrecked.
I will try to use my stamina and like to kind of plow through the muddy part, and like because I would believe it's hard like walking in it with like your feet getting sucked in the mud.
Yeah.
So I would use athletic.
Okay.
That's a 8.
8?
Yeah.
Not good. Obviously, with your new prosthetic leg, you're luckily protected from diseases because you paid the extra to get it done well. But nonetheless, it's a hard trek through the swamp. That's one fail in the first segment. Gar, what are you doing?
Gar is going to use a combination of flying and just general nimble.
So she is going to use some survival. I'm trying to avoid any like natural hazards and stuff like this. So +4.
You're like literally only a couple hours into the bog. 2 fails, 1 success. Bjorn, if you fail one more time, you guys are just all taking a point of inspiration or a point of exhaustion.
We're doing checks again.
Yep, you haven't. You're going for a target goal of success here, and you only have 1.
Okay, well, I will use my athletics again.
Okay.
Same thing, trying to plow through whatever's needed to go. Jesus Christ! I got 9.
if you already used your athletics, you can, or you failed anyways. But yeah you can.
I failed.
All right, so that means that the bog segment does not go well, and you literally have to trek through the entire night, and you finally, after 2 days of trekking through this bog, significantly longer by foot, you all come out with a point of exhaustion through your first segment. What's everybody at for exhaustion? I believe it's just 1, 1, and 2.
I thought after the sleep I was back to thing what
Yeah,
we saw.
1, 1, and 1. You're right. Good correction. Day's sail. This will probably be the worst part. Who wants to chop away at it?
I can start. I'll use my survival to
Okay.
try and see like the best path on the sides of the river and trying to see what's the easiest way.
Yep.
I'll roll 17.
That's a success. Gar.
Am I able to use acrobatics again?
Yeah, since this is a new segment, you can.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll probably do it to, kind of just see what's ahead, see what's behind, just kind of get a good area of the terrain, not really
Dodge. There's another. I'm trying to think here. What would be fair? This is a long walk, so.
Is there no way we can like cut down some trees and make a raft and just?
We're just gonna do one more segment. Actually, I think I'm good with that. So as long as you guys get through this, who wants to take it first?
And we could do a. But maybe that's just metagaming or what. Nice one.
Useful, easier for everybody. So at this advantage, I have 13.
13. That's a where you all collapse, completely covered in mud, blood, and sweat. Orname was literally getting ready to leave and give up hope, and it saddens her that she sees one less of you. She doesn't ask a question. She can tell by the look at your faces that some things are better off left and forgotten in the jungles. And you guys sail back to Nyanzaru, where you meet with Dashlin, the Lord's Alliance member. You give him the location of Nangalore. He takes you to the dock district, and he shows you the prize, what all of this has gotten you. A dusty old frigate. The sails look a bit beat. The decks are dirty. And the hull itself is cracked. You know it's going to take a little bit of work. But you also know with a little bit of work, it'll be a great ship. And he looks to you all and says, "Thank you for your help. Do you know what you'll name the ship? A good ship needs a good name."
Fletch.
He
We'll
nods.
get back to that.
All right. And with that, holy shit, that was a long session. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And you guys made it though. I thought for sure I was gonna TPK you there.
I thought as well quite a couple times.
Yeah. Unfortunately, poor Corey has more character deaths than anybody. I didn't want to kill him, but
you had resurrected him once already.
Yeah.
he was petrified.
Yeah. Yeah, it was rough. All right, though, guys. That was a grinder for sure, but you guys made it out, and we'll discuss the finer details out of game, as it is probably a disgusting hour for everybody at this point. Perfect. It's probably like borderline the next day for Ian. So thank you for playing, guys, and thank you for anyone that watched. Until next time, I'll see you later and more appropriately prep my games, because that was a long one. Cheers.